Here live at Joe Bean Stadium on the campus of Wheaton College. I'm Tate Fritz, joined as always by my partner Tim Jaderholm as the Wheaton College women's soccer team, taking on Concordia College from Minnesota. And Tim, a beautiful night out here for soccer. We talked a little bit about it earlier, but for those who are just tuning in, give us some keys to the Thunder looking to continue their good play.
Yeah, Tate, like we said earlier, coming off a big game, shall we say, on Friday. It was a tie against Trinity University, which is the number 2 ranked team in the nation. The Thunder played very, very well, offensively, defensively, both sides of the ball. They had a great game, Tate. We want to see them continue that tonight. And if they play that game that they're playing on Friday, I think it's going to be an easy win.
And let's just rehearse the starting lineups for Wheaton College, just in case you missed them. Kelsey Graham is in goal, sophomore from Wheaton, Illinois. Sarah Gadara is a mid-forward, sophomore from Plymouth, Minnesota. Anna Siebold, defense forward, sophomore from Holland, Michigan. Annie Hamilton, midfield forward, sophomore from Wyoming, Michigan. Laura Karsten, defense mid, senior from Grand Haven, Michigan. Carrie Shannon, defense senior from Melville, New York. Megan Campbell, a defense junior from Santa Ana, California. Amanda Brait, defense midfield junior from Park Ridge, Illinois. Alexa Sharkey, a midfielder, sophomore from Winfield, Illinois. Leah DeMoss, forward midfield junior from Elburn, Illinois. And Annie Woldridge, 5'10 freshman midfielder from Colorado Springs. And we're just underway here as Concordia College will have it first, and they're moving from left to right in their white uniforms with the maroon numbers. Wheaton College in their blue uniforms tonight with white numbers and white stripes. And an early handball called by the official on Concordia, and so now Wheaton will bring it from right to left on the near sideline towards the press box. Brait right at her own 18-yard box, working it into Karsten. Karsten right about middle of the Thunder half, sends it over to Campbell, but Campbell,
bad misread by Campbell early on,
unable to pick it with her foot, and it goes out of bounds, and Concordia will have it now, moving from left to right on the near side. Here is Weiss into the 18-yard box, but Karsten does a nice job to clear up to Gadara on the near side. Now Gadara into the middle, and Annie Hamilton. Hamilton trying to chase it down, but it gets stolen back from Wheaton, but Karsten does a nice job to get that ball. And now here is Woldridge on the far side, moving into the middle, now sending it over to Siebold. Siebold on the far side gets hit hard.
Huge hit on Siebold.
No foul, but it does go out of bounds.
Wow.
And the Thunder will have a throw-in on the far sideline with Alexa Sharkey now as they're in the Concordia half. Woldridge now sends it over to Sharkey, and back to Woldridge on the far sideline. Woldridge sends one in towards the box, but it's picked up by the keeper, Nelson, for Concordia. And a harmless effort there by Woldridge. Probably wanted to get something a little bit more than that. And a handball called on Karsten.
Handball on Karsten right there, Tate.
Called for a handball right at midfield after Weiss gave it a ride from the 18-yard box. And now Concordia will have it at midfield with a free kick.
Tate, it seems these first few minutes of the game, Wheaton isn't as focused as we've seen them before. And that's kind of what separates the good teams from the great ones, Tate. It's if you can come out right away, be on your game. Right now it doesn't really look like Wheaton's doing that.
And Woldridge stole it away from Concordia, but was trying to send it up to Gadara. Gadara wasn't ready for it. And now the ball getting kicked around a little bit. And Concordia has it now with number 8, Ekdahl. Sends it over to Germain and over to Cohen. Cohen trying to set it in towards the middle of the field, and now it's getting kicked around and headed around midfield by both teams. And now Leah Moss has it on her own side, trying to set it in towards the middle, and Karsten. Karsten tried to get it around to Shannon, but stolen away by Prosinski, but a nice job by Karsten to steal it right back, trying to send it to Siebold on the far side and let it go through to Woldridge, but a nice job by number 23, Cohn, on Concordia to run it down for the Cobbers. Tried to set, or the goalie rather, Nelson tried to send one out on the far sideline, trying to get something going around midfield, but it was sent out of bounds by Alexa Sharkey. He's a throw on the far side for Concordia, and Sharkey once again right there for it, and got it to Gadara, but then it got stolen away by Concordia once again. And here is Prosinski now trying to send it up the far sideline, but Karsten once again intercepts. Karsten then had it picked. And Shannon now going after it with number 23, Cohn, for Concordia. Shannon does a nice job to finally secure it for Wheaton and get it off of Cohn for a throw-in on the far sideline right across midfield for Wheaton. Sharkey trying to send it in towards Guidera, does. Guidera trying to header it over to Seabolt. Seabolt wasn't there for the pass, and then it got sent out of bounds. Sent out of bounds off of Guidera. Tim, pretty early going here, but not a lot of energy from both sides.
A couple careless errors by Wheaton early on. Handball here, misread pass there. They kind of got to get it together a little bit and start concentrating, staying focused, and playing their game. Tate.
Here's Bright now with it for Wheaton. Got held, and the foul is called. Number 12 Rounds for Concordia. And so now Wheaton will have a free kick from about 35 yards out on the Concordia half. Shannon sends it over on the far side to Alexis Sharkey. Sharkey trying to get in the middle to Karsten, gets it knocked away. Sharkey still chasing after it. Went off of number 5 German for Concordia on the far sideline, and a throw in now coming for Alexis Sharkey and the Thunder right on the 18-yard box. Here's Woldridge on the baseline, setting it in towards the net. And DeMoss had a chance at it, but it was knocked away by Concordia's Ekdahl. And now a throw-in coming in on the near sideline for Campbell and the Wheaton College Thunder. Trying to work it into Hamilton right around the 18-yard box. Shannon gets it. Now Campbell trying to get it down towards the end line and DeMoss, but Campbell unable to get it to Leah DeMoss.
Tate, that's not what Campbell wanted. I don't think she had her head over the ball. Her pass kind of went way up and over, kind of like a looping, lofted pass. That's not really what she wanted. It rolls out of bounds, and here's a goal kick for Concordia.
Nelson now with it on the far end of her 6-yard box, sends it towards the middle of the field. A couple of players fighting for it. Shannon able to header it. Tried to get it to Karsten, but Karsten pushed number 12 Rounds right in the back, and a foul called by the referee right at midfield. And now number 27 Fransdahl for Concordia will have a free kick from the far side of midfield. Sends it in towards the 18-yard box. Brate does a nice job to be right there for it and clear it out of the 18-yard box over to DeMoss on the near sideline. DeMoss trying to get something going. Pressured well, and now sends it into the middle towards Karsten, but Concordia able to intercept. Ball being fought for. Here's Campbell now. Campbell tried to get it away. Looked like a handball might have been called, and there it is. Handball called number 13 Weiss of Concordia. And probably more handballs in the first few minutes of this match than we've seen all year thus far. Just about 6 minutes into the match, 0-0 is our score. We're here live at Joe Bean Stadium on the campus of Wheaton College. Tate Fritz alongside my partner Tim Jaderholm. Pleased to bring you women's soccer all season long here on 88.1 WETN. Here's DeMoss now with it right at midfield on the near side, right by the press box. Sends it over back to the Thunder half, and Karsten now scoots it over to Alexis Sharkey on the far side, still on the Thunder half, now trying to cross. Here's Sharkey, sends it into the middle to Karsten. Karsten double team, does a nice job to get free and sends it over to Shannon. Shannon now on the Concordia half, trying to work against number 8, Ekdahl. Shannon still with it, trying to get it in towards Seabolt, but it was unable to get it. And now here comes Concordia, trying to send one on the far sideline. Here's Sharkey giving chase to number 9, Hickerson. Hickerson tried to get something going on the far sideline, but was sent out of bounds, and the Thunder will take over. Shannon trying to get something going, but bobbles it, and now picks it up once again. Shannon now in the middle of the field on the Thunder half, trying to get it over to DeMoss. DeMoss does a nice job to attack the ball and get it at midfield. DeMoss got it taken away by Prosinki, and now a ball sent in towards number 12 Rounds of Concordia. Brate does a good job to get there, unable to clear it, however, and now here's Concordia. Number 6 Prosinki trying to send one down towards the near side of the 18-yard box, but sends it over the end line. And now Amanda Brate with her first goal kick of the match for the Thunder. And Tim, looks like the Thunder are just about a step or two off thus far. What do they need to do to get going?
Tate, they've just got to settle in and start playing a game, like I've been saying. We have seen in a couple games past, sometimes they work it around a little bit, and they need that time to settle in the first 5-10 minutes of the game. That's maybe what we're seeing tonight. But really, the less time that takes, the better. You got to get goals on the board, Tate.
And Seabolt called for a foul, and so now Fransdahl of Concordia will send a free kick in towards the 18-yard box, and it was headed by Shannon, and looked like another Concordia player were fighting for it, and eventually ended up in Kelsey Graham's hands, and now she'll send it away from the 18-yard box. Graham trying to get it to Shannon. And now Seabolt and Guidera trying to get it for Wheaton. Guidera has it now in the middle, sends it over to Seabolt. Seabolt now to Hamilton. Hamilton on the near side, about 20 yards out. Here's DeMoss moving into the 18-yard box, trying to go to the end line. Sends one over towards Seabolt. And the Concordia defense was right there for it. Nearly a nice little threaded pass from DeMoss.
Best opportunity for Wheaton of the game, Tate. Very good work by DeMoss to center that ball. Unfortunately, nobody was there running onto it, but still very good idea.
Karsten had it intercepted by number 23, Cone of Concordia, but Karsten able to regroup and get it back for the Thunder right at midfield. Now sends it to Hamilton, who tries to get it to DeMoss on the near sideline, but DeMoss trips up on the ball. And it goes out of bounds on the near sideline. A throw-in coming in for Concordia about 35 yards from their own net. Concordia trying to get it out of their own half. Hamilton has it now for the Thunder. Tried to get it to Campbell. Campbell fighting for it with number 13, Weiss. And a foul called on Concordia. And a free kick coming up for the Thunder from about 40 yards out on the Concordia half. Campbell will take it for us on the near side. Campbell does a quick pass to Karsten in the middle of the field. Karsten now lines up 4-1, sends it towards the net, and it's well to the right. So a pretty harmless effort from Karsten.
Tate, I would have liked to see Karsten take a few more touches in towards the 18-yard box and then crank that shot off. She had plenty of time, plenty of space. She just kind of took her time, and it was really kind of a telegraphed shot. You knew where it was going, and it was wide.
And now Nelson for Concordia sends a goal kick up towards midfield. Shannon does a nice job to be there for the header over to Seabolt. Seabolt on the Concordia half on the far side, trying to move it in towards the middle. Here's Seabolt, try to get it to Hamilton, and does. Here's Hamilton now trying to get it over to DeMoss. DeMoss does a nice job to be there for the ball. Now sends it to Hamilton. Here's 25, now moving into the 18 on the near side. And Hamilton sending one towards the net, and Seabolt, but just out of Seabolt's reach. Tim, it seems like Anna Seabolt is knocking on the door perpetually, but just can't get her foot on that ball.
Tate, when you said just out of Seabolt's reach, I was very tempted to say kind of the story of her season so far. She's been making the right runs, she's been in the right places, but it's always seemed like it's a second or two too late. She needs to get in the right place at the right time, and that's obviously a lot harder done than it is said. But if she can do that, she'll probably put some goals in the back of the net.
Guidera and Seabolt working a nice little give-and-go action, but Concordia picked it up nicely. Now here's Woldridge fighting for it with Cone on the far side, and Cone able to win it for Concordia. Now a fight for it once again, and Shannon ends up with it after Sharkey did a nice job to win for the Thunder. Shannon tried to send it on the far sideline to Woldridge, but it was sent out of bounds right about the 18-yard box, extended for Concordia. And still a fight for it on the far sideline, moving up towards midfield between Sharkey and Hickerson, but it was sent out of bounds by Sharkey. And so now the Thunder and Concordia Cowers will fight for it on the far sideline, heading it around in a square almost. The two teams were, and then it was sent out of bounds by Concordia. So Alexis Sharkey and the Wheaton College Thunder will have possession right about midfield and a throw-in. Here's Sharkey now sending it into the middle of Karsten. Karsten fighting number 12, Rounds for it, and Rounds does a nice job to steal it away for Concordia. Here's Weiss now with it about 30 yards out right in the middle of the field, trying to send one down to Rounds. Rounds getting chased by Amanda Brate, and eventually it ends up over the end line. And a goal kick coming up for the Thunder. Nice job by Amanda Brate to catch up to Rounds that time, but Tim, also a nice job by Rounds to steal that away from Karsten.
Yeah, very good signs from Concordia early on, Tate, at least that last play. I did want to mention Rounds and Weiss are the two people we do need to watch out for. They're both Concordia's two leading goal scorers, Rounds with 7 on the season and Weiss with 3. They're going to be the dangerous ones that Amanda Brate and the defensive line are going to have to look out for.
Are we going to go with Weiss or Weiss?
I think we're going to go with Weiss.
Okay, good. That's what I thought.
Charlie Weiss.
Weiss. That's exactly what I thought.
Yeah.
Back to the action. Here's Karsten now with it, sending it up towards Seabolt in the middle of the field, and Seabolt trying to win it, and does for the Thunder. Here's Karsten with it now on the Thunder half, sending it over to Shannon on the near side, right about midfield. Now sends it up to DeMoss. DeMoss on the Concordia half, trying to work around her defender, number 16, Marhula. And DeMoss was fouled on the play by Concordia. And now a free kick once again coming up for Megan Campbell on the near side, right at midfield for the Thunder. Beautiful night here at Joe Bean Stadium, about 50 degrees under clear skies. Couldn't ask for a better night. And here for some Wheaton women's soccer all season long on 88.1 WETN. Tate Fritz, Tim Jaderholm, glad you could be with us. Here's DeMoss now sending it in towards Guidera on the near side, right about the 6-yard box extended. Guidera trying to make a move around her defender.
Got to one-touch that, Tate. She's got to serve that in faster than she did. She can't play around with it there.
Here's Campbell trying to get it into Guidera. Guidera lost it for a moment, and then it was knocked out of bounds by Scherer, number 17 of Concordia. And so now the Thunder will have a throw in from about 25 yards out, extended. Campbell trying to get it into DeMoss on the near side. Here's DeMoss to Guidera, excuse me.
Campbell's got to go too, Tate.
And it was taken away by Weiss and Rounds. And here's Rounds with it now on the near sideline, trying to send one up towards looked like number 9, Hickerson, but a nice job by Amanda Brate to be right there for it. Here is Hamilton now after the Thunder and Cobbers fought for it a bit, trying to send it over to the far side, and Woldridge now trying to send one in towards Hamilton on the far side, about the 18-yard box extended. Hamilton with it now in the corner. Far side, Hamilton trying to get past a couple defenders and gets it stolen away by German of Concordia, but German couldn't possess it and went out of bounds off of the Cobbers, and so now Hamilton and the Thunder will have a throw in from the far sideline and gets it into Shannon. Here's Shannon now in the corner trying to work around, and a nice move by Shannon, but defended well by number 23, Cone. And now another throw-in coming after Cone kicked it out of bounds right around the far corner of the Thunder, moving from right to left. Here's Hamilton trying to get it to Woldridge, but Concordia, nice job to defend, and Nelson picks it up in goal, and will send it away towards midfield. Nelson sends it right to Laura Karsten, but Karsten wasn't able to get it to DeMoss on the near side. Now a fight for it. And Concordia has it, trying to get it over to Weiss. Weiss now sends it back to Marhula, who tried to get it to Weiss again, but it was sent out of bounds by Marhula, and so now a throw-in coming in for Campbell and the Thunder. Here's Guidera trying to get it to DeMoss off a header, but unable to do so, and Marhula had it, and a foul called on Sarah Guidera on the near side, about 20 yards from midfield.
Guidera kind of threw her hands up a little bit towards the referee, not really sure what that call was for. Some good, some good contact between the two. Guidera was using her body. Not sure if that was a foul either.
Here's Fransdell now sending it way in towards the 18-yard box of the Thunder. And now here's a fight for it, a couple of headers. And Alexa Sharkey trying to get it clear of the 18-yard box. It does a nice job to do so. Gets it to Hamilton, who's now has it to DeMoss. DeMoss tried to send one up towards Shannon, but was unable to get it to her, just a bit too hard. Here's Rounds down the middle of the field, about 25 yards out. Sends it over to Weiss, guarded by Campbell. Weiss right at the 18-yard box. A couple of nice moves to try to get past Campbell. Still has it now at the 18. A couple of touches, now sends it back. And a shot goes up by number 8. Ekdahl, but unable to put it on frame, and it goes over the goal
defensively to stay on. I think that was Weiss right there, trying to work around her. She stuck to her. Very good defense.
And now here's Amanda Brate with it for a goal kick for the Thunder on the near half of the 6-yard box, and sends it on the far side to Alexa Sharkey. Sharkey had it for a moment and then had it taken away after she gave it a bit too much of a touch. And now here's Concordia with it after they win it back. Here's Rounds at the 18-yard box on the far side. A nice job by Sharkey to defend, and now a shot goes up towards the net, but Brate does a nice job to be there for the header. Rounds and Karsten fighting for it, and it looked like Alexa Sharkey tried to clear it out, and Concordia still with it. Here is Ekdahl over to Marhula, back into the middle looking for German. Gets it over to number 13, Weiss, or excuse me, not Weiss. It looked like either Marhula or Cher put up a shot, but it was right to Kelsey Graham. No real threat, and Graham now sends it towards midfield. Fight for the ball in the middle of the field, and Concordia has it once again, trying to get it to Rounds. Rounds does a nice job to try to get it to Weiss, and Weiss nearly ran it down, but Kelsey Graham was able to pick it up with her hands first. Here's Campbell now on the near side, sends it to Hamilton, and now to DeMoss on the near sideline, crossing midfield. DeMoss trying to get it down in the corner to Guidera. Guidera giving chase, but Cher is right there for it, and a nice job by Cher to clear. Campbell now with it, trying to get it to DeMoss on the near sideline, and DeMoss has it. DeMoss trying to run something down in the base on the end line. DeMoss now right at the edge of the 18-yard box on the baseline, sends it into the middle, trying to get to Seabolt. The ball up. Seabolt shoots and goal! Anna Seabolt. Tim right on cue. Nice pass from DeMoss on the end line on the near side. Sent it right to Anna Siebold. Keeper came out, and Anna Siebold did a nice job to slip it right under her hand for the goal.
Tate, very good job by Siebold. If this goal stands, it's going to break her dry spell that she's been having. I think it will. There's a little confusion down on the field. People talking to the referee, him pointing in, which direction. But it looks like the goal is going to stand. 1-0 Wheaton Thunder. Anna Siebold finally breaks that dry spell. She's got to feel great right now.
Anna Siebold, the first to strike for the Wheaton College Thunder at the 18th minute. And it is now 1-0 Wheaton College. Concordia trying to get something going with Rounds on the near side in the 18-yard box, but the Thunder able to sniff it out. Here's DeMoss now and just sends it out of bounds on the near sideline. Right about the 18-yard box extended for Concordia.
Anna Siebold. Number 22, Leah
They have a throw in now. Here is Marhula sending it into Rounds on the near side. Guarded well by DeMoss. And a foul called on Rounds. And it looks like DeMoss and Campbell will work on a free kick now for coming from the near side corner on the Thunder half. And it's sent to Amanda Brait in the 18-yard box. And here comes Brait now moving up towards the edge of the 18-yard box, trying to clear it out, and does to Shannon. Shannon now a nice header to Gadara. Gadara a touch to Seabolt on the near side. Seabolt about 35 yards out, tries to get to Gadara, but a little bit behind Sarah Gadara. And Nelson now in goal after was sent back towards her, sends it towards the middle of the field. Here's Rounds now trying to get past Karsten, but Karsten does a nice job to deflect to DeMoss. Here's DeMoss now right at midfield on the near side, gets it into the middle and carries Shannon. Shannon with it, sends it over to Alexa Sharkey on the far side on the Thunder half. Now sends it back to Brait. Brait getting chased by Rounds, and a nice move to get around her. Now sends it on the far side up towards Gadara. Gadara on the Concordia half, trying to get it to Annie Hamilton in the middle, but a nice job by Concordia to sniff it out. And a foul called on Megan Campbell.
That was a pretty obvious one. Campbell's got her hands up, Tate, but she was kind of wrapping up Weiss there. Pretty obvious foul. Nothing really to argue about.
Here's Fransdell now with it for Concordia right about midfield, just over onto the Thunder half. And she'll send a free kick in towards the 18-yard box. Fransdell sends a shot all the way in towards the net, and Kelsey Graham was able to get it right away. And no harm done on the free kick. Graham sends it towards midfield, and Gadara. Gadara does a nice job to get ahead on it, trying to get it to Seabolt. Seabolt tried to win it against Fransdell.
Tate, just for clarification, that is Kelsey Graham in goal. Looks, a little like darker hair than I remember. Maybe it's been a while. I thought it was Hillary Barreto for a little bit.
That's why I'm here, Tim.
That is Kelsey Graham.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
She is in goal. We're sorry. We're still novices. We're learning the art.
Yeah. How many games is this, Tate? 5?
4 or 5. And
we're learning.
Here's Seabolt now over on the far side to Wooldridge. Our stats guy needs to shut his mouth. We're trying to focus and have a good broadcast, and our stats man is trying to make fun of us. Here's DeMoss now in the middle. Back to the action. Here's DeMoss now in the middle of the field. Sends it over to Wooldridge on the Thunder, or on the Concordia half, And Wooldridge was trying to work it around the midfield and got it taken away by Rounds. Rounds sent it back a couple of touches, and here is now Cone sending it in towards the middle. Not sure who she was looking for, probably Weiss. And Amanda Brait was able to secure it for the Thunder. Over to DeMoss on the near side now, trying to move it across to the Concordia half. Here's DeMoss getting chased by Weiss. Weiss does a nice job to force it out of DeMoss's foot. But Annie Hamilton ended up with it on the Thunder half. Over to Shannon. Shannon now over to Alexa Sharkey. Sharkey sends it in towards the middle, looking for Seabolt. Seabolt with it now. A nice touch back to Hamilton. Here's DeMoss now on the near side after a touch from Hamilton. DeMoss about 40 yards out, sends it back to Karsten right in the middle of the field. Here's Karsten, sends it back over to DeMoss on the near side, getting defended by number 16, Marhula. And it was sent out of bounds off of DeMoss. And Concordia will have a throw-in now with Marhula on the near side, about 25 yards out from the net extended. Marhula sending it into Weiss on the near sideline. Now back to Marhula, trying to set it in towards the middle end. Rounds with it right at midfield, defended by Karsten. Touched back to number 5, German. German with it now, trying to get chased by Siebold, but German able to get it up towards Echtel and sent it back to Cohn, and now up towards number 9, Hickerson on the Thunder half, but it was sent out of bounds. And Alexis Sharkey and the Thunder have a throw in now over to Woldridge. Woldridge on the far sideline, sends it back to Sharkey. Sharkey trying to get it to Siebold. Defended well by Fransdell of Concordia. Gadara trying to intercept the pass. Gadara has a free goal, and she will score.
There it is. Sarah Gadara. How many on the season, Tate?
Sarah Gadara beat Nelson to the ball, the keeper, and slipped right past her, and a wide open net. Sarah Gadara puts away the second goal for Wheaton College unassisted. And with 23 minutes gone by in the match, the Thunder are up 2-0, Tim, pretty quickly.
Make that 7 on the season for Sarah Gadara, Tate. She's been having a great campaign so far. Very easy for her to put that in the back of the net. Kind of a misread by the back line for Concordia. Great job being a striker, being in the right place at the right time.
Her 7th on the year, Sarah Gadara at 23 minutes. And the Thunder now have it again after a nice steal of possession. DeMoss had it on the near sideline, right about the Thunder half, and sent it over to Siebold. Siebold sent it back to DeMoss, and now over to Karsten, and now over to Sharkey on the far sideline on the Thunder half. Sent it over to, wanted to clarify, I made a mistake. They did credit Siebold with an assist on that goal by Sarah Gadara, so assist to Siebold, so she's having a really good night thus far. Both goals she was involved with. And I'll fight for the ball on the far sideline on the Concordia half. Sent it towards midfield. Karsten tried to get a header on it and sent it to Concordia. And now the referee signaling a foul on Wheaton College. And so now Fransdell and Concordia will have a free kick on their own half, just about 10 yards from the midfield. Here's Fransdell now sending it in towards the 18-yard box. Campbell does a nice job to be right there for the header. Tries to send it on the far side to Woldridge. Woldridge was knocked to the ground by number 23, Cohn of Concordia. And Woldridge slow to get up. A hard hit taken there by Anna Woldridge. And the Thunder will have possession after the foul. And she is about 30 yards from the net. Brait sent it to Karsten, who now sends it on the near side to Megan Campbell. Campbell sends it towards Gadara on the near side, moving towards Concordia half, but it's stolen away by number 8, Echtel. Echtel in the middle of the field on the Thunder half, sends it on the far side to Hickerson. Hickerson trying to send it in towards Weiss and Rounds, but a nice job by Campbell to clear. Here's Marhula now trying to send it in towards Weiss on the near side. Marhula and Campbell fighting for it in the 18-yard box on the near side. Campbell does a nice job to take it and clear it for the Thunder. Here's DeMoss now on the near sideline. DeMoss on the Thunder half trying to get something going, and a nice move. Trying to send it up towards Siebold and Gadara, but no one there. DeMoss, after it got tipped by Concordia, able to get it back, but Rounds does a nice job to get it back, but then immediately taken back by Hamilton on the near sideline. Here's Hamilton with it. About 40 yards from the net extended. Here's DeMoss after a pass from Hamilton. Scoots it over the middle to Karsten. Karsten in the middle of the field. Now sends it over the far sideline to Alexis Sharkey. Sharkey now moving towards the middle. Sends it over to Carrie Shannon. Shannon on the far side sends it over to Woldridge. Woldridge, nice move. Trying to send it in towards the middle. Trying to get it to Shannon, but was unable to do so. And now Concordia trying to clear, but Alexis Sharkey was right there, and that was taken right back by Rounds. Here's Rounds in the middle of the field. Rounds, plenty of room to work with against Karsten, trying to send it into Weiss. And Campbell does a nice job to get a foot on it. And now a fight for it on the far sideline. Woldridge trying to run it down against Hickerson. And Hickerson did a nice job to save it in play. But Alexis Sharkey was able to run it down on the far sideline near the far corner. And Brait trying to clear, but now here's Weiss right at the 18-yard box trying to send one in towards Rounds. And Hamilton able to clear it out with a header. DeMoss trying to run it down, but German was able to get it before she did. And here's Weiss now on the near sideline, right about 25 yards out, stolen away by DeMoss. DeMoss in the near corner, trying to send it towards the middle of the field. German there for it to knock it down. Hamilton and Shannon going for it. And Hamilton sends it back to Amanda Brait. Amanda Brait now towards the middle of the field, and Siebold. Siebold tried to get it ahead towards Gadara, but was unable to do so. And now here's Rounds and Karsten fighting for it on the Thunder half. And Karsten and Brait able to win it back for the Thunder. A nice ball by Karsten towards Siebold, but a nice job by Scher to recover for Concordia win it back for the Cobbers. Here's Weiss now defended by Campbell, and DeMoss able to take it away from Weiss. DeMoss sends it back to Karsten. Karsten now over to Brait, right at the 18-yard box to the Thunder. Moving from right to left in this half are the Thunder. Brait sends it on the far side to Hamilton. Hamilton still on the Thunder half, trying to work around her defender. Sends it back to Alexis Sharkey. Now sends it towards Gadara on the Concordia half. Gadara, a nice touch up to Wooldridge. Here's Wooldridge on the far sideline, moving in towards the 18-yard box extended, trying to get around number 23, Cone. Wooldridge still trying to get around Cone. And sends it in towards the middle. Here's Seabold, a nice touch to Gadara. Gadara shot, and just over the frame.
Good work. I think that play should have been called off when Wooldridge was being really held on the outside of the 18. Surprising the ref didn't make any call on that tape. But really good job for Seabold to get into on the action. Tip it off to Sarah Gadara. She had a shot rocketed over the goal, but still very good idea and good tactics from Wheaton College.
And a corner kick coming up for Hamilton and the Thunder on the far side. Karsten had a shot at it with a header.
She was right there, Tate.
And Shannon now running it down on the near side. Shannon gets it to Campbell. Campbell about 25 yards out, trying to send it in towards the middle. No one there for the Thunder, and Nelson for the Cobbers able to pick it up in net. And she'll take it out towards the edge of the 18 and send it away. About 28 minutes into the match, folks. And the Thunder up 2-0 after a couple of goals by Anna Seabolt and Sarah Gadara. Certainly encouraging, Tim, after the slow start for Felski to see his girls respond in the way they have.
Very much so, Tate. Yeah, they're playing very solid soccer right now. They just got to keep it up for the rest of the half, and it should be a very good atmosphere walking back into the locker room.
Again, folks, just want to remind you, coming up at halftime, we'll send it back to the studio, and Ben Parks, and we'll have a Thunder Sports Report coming to you during halftime, so stick around to hear from one of the Thunder athletes. Not quite sure who will be on today.
We'll surprise you.
Yes, we will. We'll surprise ourselves.
Ben Parks will surprise us.
Ben Parks, you better have something good. Back to the action. Here's Karsten now fighting for it against Rounds on the Thunder half. Right about 25 yards out. Rounds able to get to Hickerson, but a nice job by Sharkey to be right there for it and clear. Couldn't clear it up to Seabolt, though, and now here is Fransdal for Concordia trying to send it to Rounds. Now here's Weiss trying to get it back to Rounds. Hamilton tried to get rid of it, but Hickerson with it now about 25 yards out on the far side. Hickerson sending it in towards Ekdahl. Ekdahl in the far corner working against Wooldridge. Nice job by Wooldridge to fight for it and force it out. Here is Cone now with it. Cone sent it to Hickerson at the 18, trying to get a shot off. Here's Weiss now moving into the 18-yard box, but Amanda Brait does a nice job to clear for the Thunder.
Good job by Brait, Tate. Coming through with the hard tackle is much needed in the box. The ball was being knocked around. Nobody really getting a good foot on it and able to get it out. Great job by Brait, the veteran sweeper.
Here is Concordia now after the ball went out of bounds on the far side. Rounds with it, working against Karsten now at the end line. And Karsten trying to save it in from a corner and does a great job to do so. Karsten, a great job.
Seabolt's got to go to that. There she is.
And Seabolt now after a ball from Karsten. And she gets hit hard and is down. The foul called against German of Concordia right at about midfield. And a free kick coming up for the Thunder, Tim. Concordia playing very physical.
They are, Tate. Very physical play. I don't know if it's the teams from up north or whatnot. But, yeah, they've been knocking around the Thunder so far. But girls have been doing a good job responding to it. And the scoreboard goes to show who's really in control of this game, Tate.
Gadara about 25 yards out trying to send it to Shannon, who could have had a shot. But it was cleared well by Concordia. Here's Campbell now trying to send it back in towards the middle of the Concordia half. Here's Hamilton with it over to Wooldridge. Wooldridge had it for a moment and then lost it to Cone. Cone sends it to Rounds right at midfield. Rounds trying to get something going up to Weiss. Weiss now in the Thunder half sends it over towards Hickerson. Hickerson pushed Campbell to the ground, and another foul called
Hickerson
against
kind of
Concordia.
shoves Campbell out of the way trying to get to that ball. Good job by the referee to call it. He's been calling, albeit, he's been making a lot of calls, a lot of fouls, but it's been pretty fair, unbiased so far, which is good.
Here's Karsten now with it over to Shannon, crossing over to the Concordia half, now sending it over to DeMoss on the near side. DeMoss makes a couple of nice moves with the feet, and still with it. Double team, DeMoss still has it, and decides to send it back to Amanda Brait onto the Thunder half. Brait right around midfield in the middle, working towards... It looks like Wooldridge and Seabolt, but was unable to connect with either one. And now Concordia trying to get something going with Rounds, but was unable to connect. And here's Brait once again. Brait right at midfield, sends it over to Shannon on the Concordia half. Shannon moving into the middle of the field about 40 yards out. Shannon thought she got fouled, and no call from the official. The fight for the ball, Rounds and Karsten, and Karsten did a nice job to get it to Carrie Shannon. Now to DeMoss. DeMoss on the end line on the near side, about 20 yards out, sends one into the middle. Tried to get it to Seabolt, and Seabolt almost had a foot on it, but was unable to get there. And now a fight for it at midfield between Campbell and Rounds. And Campbell does a great job to win it against Rounds. Here's Karsten now, sends it to Gadara. Gadara about 30 yards out, sends it over on the near side to Hamilton. Hamilton on the near side sends one in towards Seabolt and Gadara, but it was number 27, Fransdell for Concordia, who was right there to sniff it out. Here is number 6, German, trying to get it up towards Weiss, but a nice job by Campbell to intercept. And here is Hamilton now on the near side, tried to get it to DeMoss, but DeMoss unable to run it down after Hamilton, a bit of a misread there with DeMoss. Hamilton was able to intercept the pass on the throw-in, tried to get it towards Seabolt, but was unable to do so. Now a fight for it. Here's Weiss and Brate going for it on the near side. And Brate and Campbell do a nice job to win it. Here's Gadara now with plenty of room to work with. Sends it up to Woldridge on the far side, moving in towards the 18-yard box extended. Here's Woldridge. Moves into the 18-yard box, has to get rid of it. Woldridge defended well, sends it over towards Gadara, but no one there in the middle of the field. And now a fight for it, and Sharkey and Shannon able to win it back for the Thunder. Here's Woldridge now. And a handball called on Anna Woldridge and the Thunder. And now a free kick coming up for Nelson in goal and the Cobbers. Tim, would you care to tell us what a cobber is?
Tate, we had word from our man in the studio, Ben Parks, before the broadcast. A cobber it's Australian, and it's colloquially kind of used as a word for friend. Buddy is what Ben Parks tells us. Tate, me and you kind of have a differing opinion. We think it just might be, corn cobs. They're out in kind of the middle of nowhere, Concordia, Moorhead in Minnesota. We don't really know. You said their mascot is a corn cob. So I'm going to go with us on that one, Tate.
Ben Parks, I don't know what you're doing. Here's Rounds now, back to the action. Here's Rounds now with it on the Thunder half, sending it towards Weiss. Weiss was trying to send it back towards Rounds, right about 20 yards out from the net, and Campbell did a nice job to deflect it, and Kelsey Graham ends up with it in the 18-yard box of the Thunder. Graham sending it away towards midfield, looking for Gadara. Unable to get it to her. And it looked like number 23, Cone, for Concordia was able to win it. Here's Rounds now with it. Rounds gets past Brate, but Brate did a nice job to at least deflect it. Here's Hickerson to Weiss in the 18-yard box. Karsten able to get it, though. And another whistle from the official. And it'll be Thunderball. Not quite sure what the call is. But regardless, the Thunder will have it right about 20 yards from their own net with Karsten. Sends it back to Brate. About 35 minutes into the match. 2-0 Wheaton College on top of the Concordia Cobbers. Karsten now is trying to send it up the far sideline towards Woldridge and Shannon, but was unable to connect with either one. And now here is Fransdell with it and sends it into the middle of the field. Here is Ekdahl trying to send it to Weiss. Weiss on the near side, tracing it down right about the 18-yard box extended. Weiss trying to send it in towards the middle of the field. Brate did a nice job to clear. But here is German with it. German sends it in towards the 18-yard box at the top. Shannon does a nice job to clear it. German trying to fight for it and does a nice job to do so with the head. Here's German trying to send it to Hickerson on the far side of the 18-yard box. Sharkey defending well and does a nice job. Alexis Sharkey running it down against Hickerson and does a nice job to deflect it off of Hickerson. And it'll be a throw-in for Wheaton College after a couple of subs come into the game.
Number 18, Sarah Parsons. In for Wheaton, number 13, Mary Pettit. And number 16, Sydney Sharkey.
As you just heard, a couple of new subs for the Thunder. Pettit and Sydney Sharkey coming in to the ball game, replacing Carrie Shannon and Anna Woldridge. Interesting that Felsky would substitute Shannon in the early going, Tim.
Yeah, Tate, up 2-0. Not the safest of leads, but still pretty good. And, just resting Shannon's legs, we're going to be using her all season. The veteran midfielder really puts everything together for the Wheaton College Thunder.
And Concordia, number 15.
Very important player. Just give her a little rest.
Number 3, Shelby Anthony.
And a couple more subs come into the match. Elizabeth Robinson for Concordia and Shelby Anthony for the Thunder.
Kate, I did want to add real quick before we continue with the game here. Number 5 for Concordia, I think, is Saint Germain, not German.
Is it Saint Germain?
Yeah.
That's my mistake.
No problem.
We both have made a mistake so far.
I'm always checking up on you, Tate. That's why I'm here.
That's why you are here. Well said.
We work off each other, folks.
Yes, we do. And we're thankful for each other. You have no idea. Here is Brait now with
really
it.
Don't.
It would be a struggle if we had to do this by ourselves. Here's Brait now with it on the far side of the 6-yard box of the Thunder, sending it up towards the far side of midfield, looking for Seabolt and Hamilton, unable to get it to either one. And now here's Concordia with it, trying to get something going in the middle of the field. Here's number 8, Ekdahl. Ekdahl moving in towards the 18-yard box against Pettit, sends it into the middle, and Weiss sends it across. Oh, and number 15, Robinson, had a wide open net, and it slipped right underneath her foot. Concordia's best chance all game.
Best chance all game. It was very, very unlucky for them, and lucky on the opposite side of that coin for Wheaton College. She was unmarked, all alone in the box. I don't know who was supposed to be on her. She was wide open. She's going to want that one back for sure, Tate.
And a couple more subs come into the match for Concordia. Marta Prosinski and Morgan Holm, numbers 2 and 3 respectively, entering the match for Concordia. So a lot of subs coming in here in the final moments of the first half. We got about seven minutes left until we send it back to Ben Parks in the studio. Here's Leda Moss now with it on the near sideline, sends it back to Amanda Brait. Amanda Brait in the 18, right in the 18-yard box, on the near side. Now still working with it and sends it to Shelby Anthony. Shelby Anthony on the near side working against Weiss, sends it back to Brait, and Brait does a nice job to send it up to the middle of the field, and Gadara. Gadara, however, had it taken away by number 6, Prosinski. And Prosinski was trying to get it to Prosinski, and it was
don't get confused there.
That's actually Prosinski, both of them. So that's again an error on my part, trying to read names as quickly as I can, folks. Prosinski was fouled on the play, and it looks like Frensdahl will have a free kick for Concordia, trying to get it to Rounds right at the top of the 18-yard box, but was unable to put a good shot on it. And now here in the far corner, Sydney Sharkey trying to get it back from Elizabeth Robinson of Concordia, but it's called out of bounds on Sydney Sharkey. And now the Concordia Cobbers will have a throw-in on the far side near the corner. Here is Robinson trying to send it into the middle, and Weiss, but a nice job by Karsten to at least get rid of it for the moment. Here is another fight in the corner against Holm against Sharkey, and a nice job by Karsten after it was sent in towards the 18-yard box to get it out to Seabolt about 40 yards from the net. And again, Seabolt able to win it back for the Thunder after it was tipped out of bounds by Concordia, and Alexis Sharkey will now have a throw in from about 15 yards from midfield on the far sideline. Trying to get it to Sydney Sharkey, and eventually Hamilton ends up with it. Hamilton getting pushed around a little bit, and a foul called on Annie Hamilton that time by the referee. And the crowd showing their distaste for that call.
There's a lot going on there, Tate. Annie Hamilton went to ground, though, and that's where she probably was called. She kind of slid in rather dangerously, I think. And that's probably why the foul was called.
Here's Rounds with it now on the far sideline. Sends it over to Marhula. Marhula sends it over to number 6, Prosinski, who tried to get it over on the other side here near the press box to Cone, but was unable to get it to her. And now Concordia trying to win it back with Scher. Got it to Cone, and now Cone trying to get it up the field to Weiss. Weiss getting chased by Shelby Anthony, and Shelby Anthony fouls Weiss about 25 yards from the net, and now a free kick coming up on the near side for Concordia. Tim, a really important chance here for Concordia if they want to get back in this
Anthony
match.
Was lucky she didn't even get carded there. I thought it could have been. She had a clear shot towards goal. I think that was number 13. Who is that, Tate?
Weiss.
Yeah, Weiss had a clear shot for goal. Shelby wasn't even going for the ball. She just shouldered her right off her course. But dangerous free kick, like you said, for Concordia right now, Tate.
Fransdell with it about 25 yards out on the near side, just about to the edge of the 18-yard box extended. Fransdell sends one in towards the net, and Graham does a nice job to tip it, but it's into the goal. Goal, Concordia. Kelsey Graham had a hand on it, Tim. 2 hands, as a matter of fact. Looked like she was going to save it. but it tipped off of the top of her fingers and into the back of the net. Fransdell credited with the goal unassisted.
Tate, it was very good service by Fransdell. And like you said, Kelsey Graham, we thought she had it. It was coming in not too fast. It looked like it was able to be handled by her, but it wasn't. She tipped it up. I don't know if somebody hit it into the net or it was just herself, but nonetheless, it is one goal on the board for the Concordia Moorhead Cobbers, Tate.
41 minutes in, Fransdell for Concordia puts them on the board in the match. 2-1, Wheaton College now with a 1-goal lead. Karsten trying to settle down to Brait in the backfield. Weiss giving chase rather quickly. Brait able to run it down, and now on the near side is Shelby Anthony. Shelby Anthony trying to get it up towards Annie Hamilton, and is able to do so now in the Concordia half. Here's Hamilton, sends it back over mid to Shelby Anthony. Shelby Anthony right at midfield, tries to send it over to Hamilton, and does so. Hamilton now sends one to Karsten right in the middle of the field. Karsten with plenty of room to work with, trying to look for someone to get it to. Sends it over on the far sideline to Alexa Sharkey. Sharkey right over to her sister Sydney Sharkey now on the far sideline, trying to work it over to Anna Seabolt. Seabolt right about 15 yards out extended. Seabolt does a nice job to get it past her defender. Sends one towards the net, and no one there for it, but here's DeMoss now with it. DeMoss just outside the 18-yard box to the near side. DeMoss trying to work around Cone in the 18-yard box now, tries to send a shot towards the net, and it's just to the left.
Decent idea by DeMoss there, Tate. She had a good shot. Had a decent effort at it.
For number 27, Libby Fransdall.
It would be very good for the morale of the team if they were able to stick one in for the Wheaton Thunder, I'm saying, Tate, before halftime, especially going down, or not going down, but conceding one goal by the Cobbers, Tate.
Here is Sydney Sharkey now for the Thunder on the far sideline, trying to get it up to Seabolt. Seabolt able to win it back and trying to get it to Pettit, but it was stolen away nicely by the Cobbers. Here comes number 15, Robinson, moving from left to right now on the Thunder half, about 30 yards away from the net. Robinson working against Karsten, trying to send it into the corner, and Alexis Sharkey right there to take it away. Alexis Sharkey sends it way over midfield, and a nice clearance, able to at least send it out of bounds on the Concordia half, and a throw-in upcoming for the Cobbers. Here comes the throw-in now for the Cobbers, and it was sent in to Robinson. Robinson tried to get it on the far sideline up to number 12, Rounds, but was unable to connect with Rounds, as Alexis Sharkey did another nice job to clear it. Here's a fight for the ball now in the middle of the field. Rounds and Alexis Sharkey going for it, and Hamilton with it now, trying to get it over to Shelby Anthony, but Weiss able to steal away. Here's Weiss about 20 yards from the net, able to get it over to Rounds. Rounds now trying to send it over to Robinson. Robinson on the far side, and it is well defended by Alexis Sharkey and rolls out of bounds, and the Thunder will have possession. Here's Annie Hamilton now trying to set it up to Guerrera on the far sideline, crosses over to the Concordia half. Guerrera back to Sydney Sharkey, who now gets it to Guerrera. Guerrera on the far sideline right about midfield, gets it taken away by Concordia, and here's Rounds now. Rounds on the far side, sending it into Weiss. Weiss about 20 yards from the net, tried to send a touch pass down to Rounds, but it goes over the end line, and the Wheaton College Thunder will have a goal kick upcoming, under a minute remaining in the first half of this match. 2-1. Wheaton College on top after a goal in the 41st minute from Libby Fransdall of Concordia. Amanda Brait sends it to Laura Karsten on the Thunder half, who now sends it up towards Sydney Sharkey. Sharkey trying to locate the ball, was unable to do so in time, and now it's out of bounds. And a throw in once again upcoming for Concordia. Here's Rounds with it now on the far side. Rounds trying to send it in towards Robinson, but a nice job by Laura Karsten to be right there to send it up to Guerrera. Seabolt trying to send it over to DeMoss now, but it was taken away by Concordia. Weiss now trying to run it down with Shelby Anthony in the near corner, moving from left to right. And it was tipped out of bounds by Shelby Anthony. 10 seconds remaining now in the half. And Concordia just trying to get the corner kick off.
5, 4.
It's coming now from the near corner, sent in towards the middle. Leah DeMoss right there. And that'll be the end of the half. An interesting half, Tim. A slow start for the Thunder. 2 quick goals then by Seabolt in the 18th and Guerrera in the 23rd. But then one coming from Concordia's Libby Fransdall in the 41st minute, Tim. 2-1 as we go into halftime.
didn't have a great one. But yeah, we do miss Allie Witt. She's a great player. But there's certainly women that can step up in her place, Tate.
And one of those players being Anna Siebold, who had a goal and an assist in the first half, so was working on both goals, which is a very good sign for Coach Felski and the Wheaton women's soccer team, who again come into tonight with a 10-2-1 overall record. Their last match was against number 2 Trinity, and they were forced to settle a 1-1 draw in that match. Here's Shannon with a blast from about 18 yards out and scooted it along the ground, and Nelson picked it up pretty easily in net for Concordia. Nelson sends it out towards the midfield, trying to get it something going for Concordia, but a nice job by Shannon to steal it. Now here's Shannon, or Gadara, excuse me, over to DeMoss in the far corner. DeMoss working towards the end line. DeMoss now sends a ball towards the net, and it went over the top of the net and over the end line. And a goal kick coming now for Nelson and Concordia. You got folks just, sorry, Tim, and then I'll let you go.
I was just going to say a little too much on that one from DeMoss, but still very good early showing offensively for the Wheaton College Thunder. Coming in a minute in on the second half. Very good showing offensively.
Just wanted to remind all of you that our next broadcast of women's soccer will be Wednesday night at 4:30 p.m., I believe, is the start time. They'll be at North Central College, and then immediately following will be the men's game. The men's match against North Central at 7 p.m., so definitely tune in on Wednesday. 88.1 WETN and WETN.org for all Wheaton College athletics, women's soccer and men's soccer in particular on Wednesday. Here's DeMoss now about 25 yards out, sent a shot from the far side right about the 18-yard box, and it was deflected nicely by Scher, and tried to get it up on the far sideline to Weiss, and was unable to get it to her, and it was sent out of bounds. And Jen Lee now, who is in for the Thunder, was trying to get it up to DeMoss on the far sideline off the throw-in, and DeMoss was able to wrestle for it and was knocked out of bounds by Concordia. And after another throw-in from Jen Lee, Concordia able to steal it back, and it was sent off of a Wheaton College player out of bounds. And Concordia now has it on the far sideline, trying to move it into the Thunder half. But DeMoss does a nice job to steal it right away. And dispute on who has the ball, and the referee finally signals Concordia. And Marhula now on the far sideline, about 10 yards from the mid, sends it towards Weiss. Weiss back to Marhula, now trying to send it back to Weiss, but was picked up nicely by the Thunder defense. And DeMoss ends up with it on the far sideline, now sends it to Shannon at midfield, over to Annie Hamilton. Hamilton slips it back to Karsten, now scoots it over to the near sideline, and Alexa Sharkey. Sharkey now tries to get it up to Gadara. Gadara, nice touch up to Anna Woldridge, but it was sent out nicely by Fronsdell, who's really had a nice match thus far for Concordia. Here's Woldridge now trying to send it to Shannon right around the 18-yard box, but a nice job by Concordia to get it out. Here's Robinson now with it, guarded by Karsten. Karsten trying to get it away and does a nice job. Here's Gadara now about 25 yards out. Had just a little bit too much mustard on it. And Ekdahl for Concordia able to win it back for the Cobbers. Here's Sharkey now right at midfield, trying to get over to Jen Lee, but Weiss does a nice job to get it for Concordia. DeMoss, though, able to run it down. And now here's a nice touch from Annie Hamilton over to DeMoss on the far sideline, moving in about 30 yards out. Here's DeMoss now moving towards the 18-yard box, extended. DeMoss trying to move into the 18-yard box, a couple of nice moves. Still with it now, moving towards the end line, sends one in towards the middle, and a nice job by Concordia to deflect it out. Here's Jen Lee, about 35 yards out, tried to send it into the middle, but a nice job again by Concordia to get a foot on it. Here's Robinson with it. Robinson about 35 yards out from her own net, trying to set it up on the far sideline to Weiss. Too much on that pass, though, and Amanda Braid able to settle it for the Thunder to Karsten. Karsten now sends one over on the near side to Alexa Sharkey, moving from left to right here in this half. Sharkey now moves it across onto the Concordia side, sends it to Hamilton. Hamilton in the middle of the field now sends it over to Karsten. Karsten back to Hamilton. Hamilton now working with it and sends it over to Alexa Sharkey. Sharkey a touch to Woldridge. Woldridge trying to touch it up to Hamilton, and now the ball's free. And Fronsdell and Gadara running after it. Fronsdell now with it right outside of her own 18-yard box. Now sends it, trying to get it up the field to number 23, Cone. But a nice job by the Thunder to force it out of bounds, and they'll have possession. Woldridge now sends it to Guidera. Here about the 18-yard box, is sending it on the near side, sends it into Woldridge. Woldridge now in the middle to Seabolt. Seabolt right at the top of the 18-yard box to DeMoss. DeMoss with it now, trying to make a couple of moves, gets the right foot on it, shot, and it's over the net. Good idea by DeMoss, just unable to put it right on frame, Tim.
Tate, she's got to have her head over the ball when she's shooting. That'll keep it from flying up towards the Chase Service Center, as we always like to say over there. But good effort by DeMoss nonetheless.
Nelson now with it, trying to send it up, and Shannon able to win amidst three Concordia cobbers. And now Guidera and Woldridge trying to get it for the Thunder on the near sideline. Woldridge fighting a couple of cobbers, still fighting, and it's finally sent out of bounds, and the referee signals that it will be Concordia ball. And it looked like indeed a foul was called, perhaps. And it was, and Fronsdal will now have a free kick on the near sideline, about 25 yards out, extended from the net. Fronsdal sends it towards the near mid. And now here's Rounds with it on the Wheaton half. Rounds trying to send it across the field to Weiss, but DeMoss was able to get it and sent it to Jen Lee, who now is trying to get it to Anna Seabolt on the far sideline. Seabolt on the Concordia half slips it to DeMoss. DeMoss now with it in the middle, trying to get one towards Seabolt. Here's Seabolt on a run out, and Fronsdal, however, able to fend it off. Seabolt tried to save it in and does, but it's picked up right away by Nelson in goal.
Tate, that was a very good ball by DeMoss, kind of threading it through to Seabolt, who was running onto it, which is also very positive to see her doing and being in the right place at the right time for that. Unfortunate she wasn't able to get it off. Sarah Guidero's waiting there in the 6-yard box.
Here's Brait now with it, trying to run it down against Rounds. Brait in the far corner on the Thunder half, stolen away by Rounds. Here's Rounds right outside the 18-yard box on the far side. Rounds moving in towards the 18-yard box now, tries to get a left foot on it, and a shot. And it's just over the frame.
Decent effort by Rounds, Tate. Like we said earlier, she's the one that we got to watch out for. If you're the Wheaton College defense, 7 goals on the season, leading goal scorer for the Cobbers, and she's showing it there. She's able to break through the back line. You really got to mark her, Tate.
And a rather careless turnover there by Brait nearly cost the Thunder another goal. And it seems like if anything's been weak tonight for the Thunder, it's been the defense, Tim. A couple of near miscues by the Thunder.
Yep, Tate, and we were hoping that they would figure that out in the locker room. Pete Felsky would say something about that. It hasn't really looked like there's been much change coming into the second half.
Here is Woldridge now on the near sideline, trying to fight for it against Cone, and sent it back to Alexa Sharkey and up towards Annie Hamilton, and it went out of bounds off of Concordia. And now Alexa Sharkey will have a throw-in for the Thunder on the near sideline, sending it up to Woldridge right around midfield. Woldridge moving back a bit, sending it to Sharkey. Sharkey now sends it over towards Guidera, but St. Germain able to get a header on it. And here is number 6, Prosinski, sending it to St. Germain in the middle of the field, now sending it towards the Thunder half, and Weiss. Jen Lee does a nice job to deflect it from Weiss, but it was sent out of bounds.
All the way over to the Concordia Cobbers cheering section, it looks like, over there on the far side, Tate. Think it could be the men's team?
Perhaps. Probably.
They were at Elmhurst College earlier today.
Yes, they were.
So I have a feeling that's them. Been standing all game. First and second half.
Back to the action. Here's Kelsey Graham, able to sniff it out for the Thunder, and scoots it along the ground up to Alexa Sharkey, who now tries to send one to Guidera. Nice ball from Sharkey. Guidera and Fronsdal for Concordia running after it after a nice ball by Sharkey, but Nelson able to get it after it went to the 18-yard box of Concordia. Nelson sends it high right towards midfield, and Shannon, who's able to get it to Hamilton, and now gets it to Karsten. Karsten now looking for Seabolt on the far side. Seabolt now on the far sideline, right around midfield, sends it over, trying to get it to Hamilton, trying to squeeze the needle. Unable to get it to Hamilton, and now a fight for the ball at midfield, Robinson and Karsten. Karsten does a nice job to get it back for the Thunder, sends it to Woldridge. Here's Hamilton now with it. Hamilton on the Concordia half, trying to work the middle of the field, and eventually ended up to DeMoss after a deflection. DeMoss, a little bit too much of a touch, and it's stolen away by Prosinski for Concordia. St. Germain now with it in the middle of the field, trying to get it across onto the Thunder half, looking for Echtel. Echtel now with it on the near side, getting chased by Woldridge. Echtel about 30 yards out, a nice move on Woldridge. Now moving about 18 yards extended, now moving into the box. Here's Echtel sending it over in the middle to Prosinski, and Prosinski tried to get a shot on frame, and it eventually ended up over the end line, and it'll be a goal kick.
Tate not very good defensively for the Thunder once again. Ekdahl, the Swedish import for the Cobbers of Concordia, kind of breaking ankles around the 18-yard box, weaving in and out of the Wheaton College defense, and Alexis Sharkey a little miscue as well, giving way to that shot by the Cobbers.
Nonetheless, though, no harm done. And now St. Germain for Concordia with it right about midfield, trying to send it over to Ekdahl. Ekdahl sends it back to Fronsdahl. Fronsdahl with it now right about top of her 18-yard box, sends it over on the far sideline, trying to get it to Weiss. But a nice job by Jen Lee to cut it off to DeMoss. DeMoss now fighting for it, and a foul called on Marhula of Concordia. And now the Thunder will have it right at midfield. Kirsten to Shannon. Shannon now sends it on the near side to Alexis Sharkey. Sharkey now moves across her own half, getting defended by Rounds. Sharkey trying to send it towards Hamilton, but it was taken away nicely by Ekdahl. Here's Robinson now with it in the open field. Robinson trying to send a ball up to Weiss, and Weiss has a shot, and it's a goal!
Tate Jen Lee lost her mark, and Concordia Cobbers capitalized on it.
Great effort by Concordia as a great slip pass was made, and it looked like Weiss was able to put it right in the back of the net without much of a challenge from Kelsey Graham. 2-2 here with about 10 minutes gone by in the second half, Tim.
Jen Lee lost track of Weiss there, number 13, Tate. And the assist from Robinson was very good. Actually, a very, very good finish by Weiss there. But really, it came down to staying.
Hamilton with a shot, and it's right on frame. Hamilton not very pleased with herself, knew that she should have finished that one off.
There. She could have put Wheaton ahead once again. And like we said, Tate, when at the Trinity game last Friday, when you concede a goal, Wheaton College, it's really good to bounce back right away. Often your opponent's going to be weak at that time, not really thinking about playing defense. That could be the case right here with Concordia. Wheaton's got a strike.
Here is Rounds with it now on the near sideline. Gets it over to Robinson. Kirsten able to clear it out, try to get it to Gadara, but Gadara mistimed her jump. And now Fronsdahl sending it into the middle of the field, looking for Marhula. Marhula now on the middle of the field, sends it over to St. Germain. St. Germain crosses onto the Wheaton half now, looking for Robinson. Robinson trying to touch it over to Ekdahl, but a nice job by Woldridge to recover for the Thunder. Here's Alexis Sharkey now on the near side, trying to send it up towards Gadara. Gadara, nice job from Sharkey, trying to send it now on the edge of the 18-yard box to Anna Seabolt. Seabolt getting chased by number 17, Cher of Concordia, and Cher able to outmuscle Seabolt and allow the ball to roll over the end line. And Nelson will now have a goal kick coming up for Concordia. Nelson about to send it away. Here's where about 58 minutes into the match. Wheaton College and Concordia are all square at 2 apiece. Once again, Tate Fritz here speaking alongside my broadcast partner, Tim Jaderholm. Very pleased to bring you women's soccer here on Wheaton College Radio 88.1 WETN all season long. And you can also find us on WETN.org. And just a reminder, folks, if you're looking for any information on Wheaton College women's soccer, you can find that on athletics.wheaton.edu all season. Here's Karsten now, a shot, and it's just off to the right. Karsten had a good look at it as well, about 25 yards out, but unable to put it through the back of the net.
Good effort by Karsten, Tate. It's good to see from the Wheaton College offense. Just want to keep knocking on that door.
And now the referee signals for time. And a sub coming in for Concordia, number 18, Sarah Parsons returns to the ball game. And she'll replace Marhula for Concordia. Nelson now with it, with a goal kick, sending it up towards number 8, Ekdahl. But Shannon did a nice job to wrestle away, and now several headers trying to win it. And Seabolt now has it, sending it to Gadara. Gadara, a nice touch back to Shannon. Shannon trying to touch it over to Hamilton, but just by Hamilton's foot. A nice effort there from the Thunder. And it'll be a throw-in now for Alexis Sharkey on the near sideline, trying to get it to Woldridge. Woldridge about 25 yards out, and a handball called on Anna Woldridge. And so now the Concordia Cobbers will have a free kick from Fronsdal from about 20 yards from their own net. Fronsdal sends it into the Wheaton half now on the near side. Weiss giving chase with Brait. Weiss still chasing it down in the corner, and it's out of bounds off of the Cobbers.
Number 25, Allie Witt.
And as you just heard, Allie Witt now checking into the match for Wheaton College, replacing Anna Seabolt. So certainly a good sign, Tim. Allie Witt feeling good enough to come into the game after a hard hit taken on Friday.
She's in the game, Tate. It's going to be interesting to see what she can do. Hopefully she's not too knocked up from Friday. That big hit that you said she did take against Trinity University, hopefully she can get a goal here tonight. Wheaton College really needs it. I was going to say their winning percentage here, Tate, since the year 2000 has been 94% at home at Joe Bean Stadium. I really don't want to see them lose this game, Tate.
Previously lost one last 2 Thursdays ago to Aurora University, so the women looking to rebound from that effort here at home just a couple of weeks ago. Karsten now with it, sends it over to Wooldridge on the near sideline. Wooldridge on the Concordia half, a couple of nice moves, now trying to send it in towards Guidera. Guidera about 35 yards from the net. Guidera trying to make a move past Fronsdal, gets it towards the middle, and Witt. Here's Witt now sending it back, tried to send it back to Hamilton to get a strike on the net, but was unable to do so. But Carrie Shannon does a nice job to recover for the Thunder and gets it to Sharkey. Now gets it up to Wooldridge on the near sideline. Wooldridge now about 30 yards out, trying to send one in towards the middle. Looked like she was looking for Hamilton, but Hamilton was not ready for the pass, and it was nowhere near Hamilton. Robinson now with it for Concordia, right about midfield, now trying to send it up to Rounds. Here's Rounds against Alexis Sharkey. Rounds about 40 yards out right in the middle, trying to send it over to Weiss. Here's Weiss now with it at 18-yard box extended, now chasing it down in the corner. Weiss tried to get it in, and Rounds and Brait giving chase now. Brait does a nice job to at least clear for the moment. Cone for Concordia had a shot at it, but it was well played by Leah DeMoss. And now here's Allie Witt with an opportunity right around the 18-yard box, trying to get around Fronsdal. Witt still fighting for it. Witt takes it away. Guidera with a shot towards the net. DeMoss with a shot.
Leah DeMoss coming up big for the Thunder, Tate.
Leah DeMoss, a couple of shots got off. Looked like Witt had a shot at it at first, then Guidera, and Leah DeMoss is right there, sent it, keeper deflected it, but then the second effort from DeMoss able to send it into the back of the net, and now the Thunder retake the lead 3-2.
There's a little confusion down on the field, Tate. Head coach Dan Wheeler from Concordia talking with the referee. I think he's looking for an offsides call on that goal.
Now
he's also exchanging some words with Pete Felsky, the Wheaton bench, as the referee sends him back to his own bench.
And we're still trying to sort things out.
Why? I don't understand. It doesn't make any sense. She's 5 yards behind the line. Open your eyes.
That is head coach Dan Wheeler from Concordia. And it's going to be carded here. There's a yellow card for Wheeler from the referee.
And a yellow card given to Concordia's head coach Dan Wheeler. And the goal is still good. And Leah DeMoss puts one in the back of the net in the 62nd minute of this match to put the Thunder up by 1.
Tate, offsides or not, it was a very good effort from DeMoss staying with that first shot. Very, striker's instinct, as we saw from her, to stay with it either for her
number 22, Leah DeMoss.
And here is Alexa Sharkey now. After it went out of bounds off of Concordia on the near sideline, tried to get it up to Witt. Witt had it taken away by St. Germain. Here is number 9, Hickerson now in the near corner, sending it towards the net. Brait had a head on it. Now here's a shot from Weiss, and it's wide, and Kelsey Graham does a nice job to recover for the Thunder. But again, nearly another defensive breakdown there, Tim, as Concordia had a couple of chances at it on the Thunder net. Here is Fronsdal now trying to get it up the field to Prosinski. But the Thunder do a nice job to recover, and here's Wooldridge now trying to get it around to Allie Witt on the near side. Here's Witt about 40 yards out. Does a nice job to turn on Fronsdal. Here's Witt now about 30 yards out, sends it into the middle to Wooldridge. Now trying to get a give-and-go action with Allie Witt. Witt trying to run it down on the end line, and it's still in, but then it goes out of bounds over the end line. And a goal kick upcoming for Nelson and Concordia. Again, folks, just to recap the goals. A couple of early ones from Seabolt and Gadara for the Thunder. But then right before half, Libby Fronsdal of Concordia able to put one in the back of the net. 2-1 was our halftime score. And then Gina Weiss able to put one away in the 56th minute for Concordia. And then we just had Leah DeMoss add the go-ahead goal in the match for the Thunder at the 62nd minute. And now we stand 3-2 with just about 26 minutes remaining in the match. Here's Woldridge now with it, about 35 yards from the net in the middle. Here's Gadara over to Witt. Witt over to Hamilton. Hamilton right at the 18-yard box trying to get something going against Fronsdal. Hamilton lost it for a moment, and it is called a goal kick off of Hamilton. And Fronsdal looked like she was shaken up for a moment on the play, but now appears to be fine. Nelson with it now in net for Concordia and sends it up towards St. Germain, who tried to get it to Rounds. Carson did a nice job to interrupt that. Now here's Leah DeMoss. Leah DeMoss on the Concordia half trying to get something going. DeMoss moves into the middle of the field about 30 yards out, sends it on the near side to Woldridge. Woldridge moving in about 10 yards extended, trying to get it past and get a shot off. Was able to do so. Now sends it to Hamilton. Hamilton towards the middle of the field. Nice job by St. Germain for Concordia to get ahead on it. Looked like she's shaken up a little bit on the play. Here's Alexa Sharkey now. Sharkey sends it over to Woldridge. Woldridge sends it in towards the middle, but St. Germain again right there for it. And it's cleared. Rounds and Hamilton fighting for it, and a foul called on Annie Hamilton. Inadvertent, but went cleat into the shin.
Tate Hamilton's got to use her head on that one. She's reaching out with her foot to try and win that ball out of the air. Not really what you want to be doing. Got to stay with the fundamentals, Tate, and get a head on that instead of a foot.
Here is Fronsdal now with it, sending it in onto the Thunder half. Shannon and Hamilton trying to win it with the head, but Alexis Sharkey able to come down with it. Now here's Prosinski for Concordia, sent it in towards the middle, but number 22 of Wheaton College, I'm sorry, 12. Jen Lee was able to head it away. And now here's a couple of passes for Concordia. Got it towards Henderson right at the 18-yard box, but a nice job by Wheaton to send it away for now. Here's Ekdahl sending it in towards Hickerson on the near side, trying to get something going in the corner, but sent it a little bit too long. And Wheaton will have a goal kick now coming up for Amanda Brait. Number 2, Marta Prosinski checks back in for Concordia, replacing St. Germain. And again, a goal kick upcoming for Amanda Brait and Wheaton College. Brait sends it up towards Gadara, but it was headed away nicely by Prosinski. Now fought for by both squads. And Concordia trying to settle, but Hamilton does a nice job to reach up for it and get it from Ekdahl, and now DeMoss has it. DeMoss sends it back to Karsten. Karsten back to Brait. Brait about 25 yards out from her own net in the middle of the field. Now looks up towards Woldridge, trying to get something going, but a nice job by number 18, Parsons, to intercept for Concordia. Here is Prosinski now trying to send it up the field, and it was taken away by Shannon, but now Concordia nearly stole it back, and another foul is called as Rounds ran into Brait about 20 yards from the net. So a free kick upcoming for Amanda Brait and the Thunder. And Tim, this game's had an interesting flow. What do you expect the last 20 minutes or so?
Yeah, well, in terms of what the referee is calling, not too much flow at all. A lot of stop and go with all the fouls and handballs he's been calling, not really letting the girls play as much as we're used to seeing. But Wheaton College doing a good job coming off in the second half. Obviously scoring that goal by Leah DeMoss is good. But kind of back and forth, really not too much flow to speak of, Tate.
And answered my question rather well. Made me sound kind of dumb, so thanks for that, Tim. I'm sure Ben will have something to say about that in the postgame. Here's Allie Witt down the corner on the far side to DeMoss. DeMoss sends it in the middle of Gadara. Gadara right on top of the 6-yard box, sends it back to Hamilton, trying to get something going in the 18-yard box, but was unable to connect. Here's Woldridge with it now. Woldridge about 30 yards out, sends it in towards the net. Woldridge had a nice little shot, but it was picked up well by Nelson in goal. Nelson trying to get something going quickly for Concordia. Jen Lee had a chance to win the header, but missed it entirely. And now here's Rounds. Rounds defended well by Karsten right in the middle of the field. And Annie Hamilton able to take it away. And another foul by Concordia. Certainly a lot of fouls have been called this game, Tim, but a lot of them have seemed
a lot of them
pretty
actually
fair.
are fouls, Tate. You're right. Yeah, very, very physical match between the Cobbers and the Thunder all night long, Tate. It's been a tough one out there.
And certainly can't expect anything less. Just about 22 minutes left until the completion of this match, and the Wheaton College Thunder up 3-2 over Concordia, looking for their first home victory in a couple of weeks. Here's Kerry Shannon now with it, sending it over onto the Concordia half, looking for Wooldridge. Wooldridge with it now on the near sideline, moving from left to right this half, about the 18-yard box extended, defended well by Parsons of Concordia, and it's sent towards the end line. And it went off of Wooldridge, so a goal kick coming up now for Nelson. Wooldridge, Tim, doing a decent job on the near side, but just really unable to get any good shots off all night.
Yeah, Tate, she had that one a minute or so ago where she had the right-footed shot, faked it, and had a nice kind of cut over to her left foot and took the shot, but really not enough power on that one. I don't have the exact stats for how many shots she's had in the first half, but kind of a mediocre effort thus far from Annie Wooldridge, Tate.
And Brait sends the ball right up towards us.
Almost to us in the press box.
I thought Miles Veston's going to have to show his baseball abilities there, but just a bit outside.
He pitches though, Tate, right? I don't think he could even, I don't know, who knows if he could even make that catch.
I don't think our stats guy could have done that at all, no. I seriously doubt it.
Yeah.
Here we go, back to the soccer now on the pitch. Here's Allie Witt trying to run it down against Fronsdale on the Concordia half on the near sideline. Fronsdale still has it against Witt. Witt defending Fronsdale well, and it's called off of Witt out of bounds, and it will be a throw-in now for Concordia's Parsons. Parsons on the Concordia half, trying to move it up towards midfield, moving from right to left in this half. Parsons sending it up towards Hickerson, who sent it back, and Parsons had it, but then it was sent off of the foot of Allie Witt out of bounds right here in front of the press box. And Parsons will have a throw-in on the near sideline, now moving it in onto the Thunder half. Rounds had it for a moment and sent it in, but it was called out of bounds before that. And so now Alexa Sharkey will have a throw-in for the Thunder, moving it towards the midfield. And once you know, another foul.
Not really
Annie
the best
Wooldridge.
from Annie Wooldridge, trying to bring that down with her thigh. Not the best decision, and she's already sprawled out on the field and trips up number 9, Rachel Hendrickson, for that one.
So now Fronsdale with a free kick from the near sideline, but it was defended well by Wheaton, sent it out to Allie Witt. And now here's Wooldridge on the near sideline, sending a nice ball to Allie Witt. Witt about 30 yards from the net extended, now moving in towards the 18-yard box, but taken away well by Fronsdale.
Solid defensive effort from Fronsdale, Tate. She got all ball on that one.
And Wooldridge nearly recovered it for the Thunder, but it was sent out of bounds off her foot, and Parsons will have a throw-in now for Concordia on the near sideline, moving towards the Thunder half. Parsons sends it into Persinski, who sends it over towards Rounds and Hickerson, but neither able to get a foot on it. And now it's sent back into the Concordia backfield, and number 17, Scher, for Concordia, sends it over on the far sideline to Cone.
Allie Witt doing a good job of running that down and pressuring Tate. Good to see from your forwards.
And it was sent off of Allie Witt's foot, and so Cone will have a throw-in now, and after a couple of touches, DeMoss able to take it away to Shannon. Shannon sends it to Wooldridge. Wooldridge now trying to get it to Hamilton, but Fronsdale does a nice job to intercept. And the whistle blows once again, and another foul called on Annie Hamilton. That's got to be at 4 or 5 for Hamilton thus far in this game,
Yeah,
Tim.
Tate, really not what you want to be doing once you lose the ball. She kind of goes to ground, falls down, and she gets called for fouls a lot of the time. So Pete Felski, I hope, can sort that out with her next time they're in training. And tell her that's really not what you want to be doing.
Training. Classic soccer term.
That's what we call it here in the sport, Tate.
We don't call it practice, we call it training, because we're cool. Genley trying to send it up towards Kerry Shannon, but was unable to get it to her. And fighting for it was Rounds and Lee, and then a handball was called on Rounds. And so Wheaton will have a free kick now coming up from the far side of their own half. Probably about 35 yards out from the net. Karsten sends it over to Brate right in the middle of the field, sends it over to Alexis Sharkey. Sharkey getting chased by Hickerson. She sends it to Wooldridge. Wooldridge holding now on the near sideline. Wooldridge trying to move it in, but sends it back to Amanda Brate. Brate tries to clear it up towards midfield. No one really there. Gadara now giving chase against Prosinski. Prosinski trying to get it to Fronsdal. Prosinski has it now and sends it to Wooldridge. Here's Gadara. Gadara getting chased by Prosinski. And eventually Concordia able to clear it out towards midfield, and Jen Lee able to run it down for Wheaton. Here's Shannon over to Karsten. Karsten crosses onto the Concordia half, sends it over to Annie Hamilton. Hamilton on the far side.
Hamilton misses the overlapping run from DeMoss. That would have been a perfect opportunity to slide that in.
Hamilton then tried to send it into the middle towards Shannon, but it was intercepted nicely by Prosinski of Concordia. Karsten lost her footing on the far side and was lost it to Weiss, who tried to send it up to Rounds, but it went out of bounds. And Jen Lee will have a throw-in coming. Actually, my apologies. It went off of Jen Lee, and so Concordia will now have a throw-in on their far sideline. It looks like it'll be Marhula, who just checked back into the match, who will do the throw-in honors from the far sideline, moving probably about 40 yards out from the net extended. Marhula trying to get it into Rounds. It was defended well by Karsten and Lee, but Annie Hamilton not able to clear it fully, and Rounds and Hamilton now fighting for it.
There she goes again, Tate. It's
another
just
foul.
what we've been talking about. Annie Hamilton loses the ball. She falls to the ground, and she tangles up with a Concordia player and gets the foul called on her. Not what you want to do. Now they have a pretty good free kick in a good area. Concordia scores here. I'm going to be very mad if I'm head coach Pete Felski.
75 minutes into the match, 3-2 Wheaton. Fronsdale sends one in towards the net, but Graham able to get her hands on it. Here is Marhula trying to get something in, but Laura Karsten does a nice job to deflect it out towards DeMoss on the far sideline. And DeMoss sent it back to Jen Lee, but wouldn't you know, another foul called on Concordia. And a free kick coming up for the Thunder on the far sideline, about the 18-yard box extended of their own net. And Annie Seabolt getting ready to check into the match for the Thunder as soon as she has the next opportunity. And once again, folks, just wanted to remind you that our next match will be on Wednesday at North Central College. And I'll be there live. Unfortunately, Tim Jaderholm will not be able to join me, so I'll have to make
Regrettably,
do.
yes,
I'll have to make do. But I'll be covering both the women's and men's matches that night, 4:30 and 7 p.m. Respectively. So hope that you can join us for that match. 88.1 WETN or WETN.org all season long for both women's and men's soccer.
Fans, if you love Tate Fritz, you'll get plenty of it on Wednesday night. Make sure you tune in.
That might not be the best thing ever.
Couple hours straight, Tate Fritz.
Not just a
all
couple.
night long.
Like 4 hours straight.
Sounds like a dream come true to me.
Not really. I'm sorry already for the poor people who have to listen to me. Here's DeMoss now with it on the far sideline for the Thunder, about 25 yards out extended, trying to work around her defender. I almost said whore defender, and that would have been kind of weird. DeMoss on the far sideline now sends it up to Jen Lee, right at midfield. Lee moving backwards, sends it over to Brate. Here's Brate now with it on the Thunder half right in the middle of the field. And making a couple of nice moves around Weiss, and now sending it on the far sideline to Jen Lee. Lee gets around Rounds and sends it in towards Gadara. Gadara, a nice little touch, trying to get it towards DeMoss, but just a little bit too much on it. And Nelson, able to pick it up for Concordia in her 18-yard box. Nelson sends it on the far side towards Rounds, who has it now in the Thunder half, defended by DeMoss, and sends it back to Marhula, who sends it into the stands out of bounds, and the Thunder will have a throw-in on the far sideline of their own half. Jen Lee moving towards midfield, trying to get it to DeMoss, who does a nice job to get around Marhula. Here's DeMoss sending it to Gadara. Gadara now trying to get a touch up to DeMoss. DeMoss now in the far corner tries to send it into the middle of the 18-yard box towards Seabolt, but a nice job by the Cobbers to clear. Here's Jen Lee now with it into the middle to Shannon. Shannon sends it to Karsten. Karsten in the middle of the field, about 40 yards out, sends it over to Annie Hamilton. Hamilton sends a shot towards the net.
Shot!
It's just off the bar. Nelson got a hand on it barely, and it went off the bar. And Nelson now will have the chance to send it away on the far sideline. A great shot there by Annie Hamilton.
Yeah, and a good lead up to that. Karsten just getting the pass off to Annie Hamilton to make that shot possible. And Annie Hamilton with the left foot, I believe. Very good effort. Looks like it was heading in, Tate.
But to no avail.
To no avail.
Here's Shannon with it now in the middle of the field for the Thunder. Shannon, in this very physical match, doing well to anchor the Thunder in the middle. Here are the Sharkey sisters now working with it. Alexis Sharkey now moving in on the near sideline, moving towards the 18-yard box. A good ball to Siebold. Siebold just out of reach.
Siebold's got to touch that, Tate.
Here is Annie Hamilton now with it. About 40 yards out, sends it over on the near sideline to Alexis Sharkey. Sharkey now trying to squeeze one to Hamilton. Hamilton has it. Hamilton to Gadara. Gadara with it about 30 yards out, sends it to Karsten. Karsten sends it down to Sydney Sharkey on the near side, about 18 yards out extended. Sharkey now trying to move it in towards the baseline. Sharkey sends it into the end line. Siebold nearly got a hand on it, or a head on it, I should say. And Fronsdal able to clear for Concordia. Shot goes up from Karsten, but defended well by Fronsdal, who was right there for it.
More like right off the back of Fronsdal.
Here's Sydney Sharkey now again moving to the end line in the corner on the near side, trying to get something going, still working against a couple of Concordia defenders, and it's sent.
It's going to be a corner.
Out of bounds off of Concordia, and a corner kick upcoming for the Thunder.
Tate, we haven't seen too many corner kicks this game. Both in the first half, just one apiece for the Cobbers and the Thunder. Like we've been saying all season, always a chance to score here.
I believe Hamilton will take the corner in the near corner for the Thunder. She sends a high one in towards Gadara, who had a head on it, but sent it right over the frame. And a good idea there from the sophomores of the Thunder soccer team, Hamilton and Gadara. Tim nearly put one in the back.
Yeah, Tate, they've always had a good chemistry together. Gadara doing what she does best, getting on those high balls sent up in the air. She's got a big body that she can muscle around and get to those just over the bar.
80 minutes gone by in the match, folks. 3-2 Wheaton in a very well contested match by both sides, very physical. And Wheaton thus far has been able to hang on to the lead. After starting off quickly 2-0, Concordia's come back nicely, but Wheaton able to respond in the 62nd minute with DeMoss. Here's Hamilton now on the near sideline, moving in towards the middle, trying to get it to Gadara. Gadara has it now back to Hamilton. Hamilton about 35 yards out, sends one in towards Siebold. Siebold at the top of the 18-yard box, trying to get something to Gadara. Nice touch. Here's Gadara right in the 18-yard box, nearly had something going, and it was just off the mark. Here's Shannon now trying to put a shot up. Here's Siebold at the 18-yard box after it was deflected. Shannon sends a shot towards the net. That's just a great save by Nelson.
Diving effort by Nelson.
Here's Sydney Sharkey now getting it towards the net. Siebold
open net.
Had an open net. Siebold still trying to get something to it. And a great job by Concordia defense to keep it away. Nelson, a really risky effort, Tim, and nearly cost her team the match. Here's Sharkey outside the 18-yard box, sends one towards the net, but it's off to the right.
Tate, risky is the word to describe it for Nelson's play. Great diving effort, but then comes way off her line to try and get the ball after that rebound. It could have been in the back of the net had Siebold finished.
And it was not necessarily Siebold's fault. It's a great defensive effort from Concordia.
Yeah.
Here's Sydney Sharkey now on the near sideline, moving it in towards the 18-yard box. Extended, defended well by Parsons. Sydney Sharkey still fighting, and a foul called. The freshman Parsons will have a free kick. Fronsdal will take the free kick for Concordia now, right about the 18-yard box extended for Concordia. And now she moves it down towards the end line. And it'll be a free kick coming for Concordia. Just about 9 minutes left until the end of this match. Wheaton up 3-2.
Good win by Gadara.
Here is Gadara now fighting for it in the corner with Fronsdal in the near side, and it's sent out of bounds, and it'll be a goal kick coming for Concordia. But Sarah Gadara, Tim, really showing some speed there on that last effort.
Yeah, she's had a great night overall, too, with the goal that she had early on. She's been hustling, she's been aggressive, she's been using her body, doing all the things that's why she's the starting forward for the Wheaton Thunder. She's had a great game so far.
Shannon nearly had a nice little touch to Siebold, but it was sniffed out well by Concordia. Here's Siebold now about 25 yards out, trying to get a touch to Gadara. Gadara fighting Parsons with it in the 18-yard box, trying to get around. Gadara does, and it's sent out of bounds, and it'll be a corner awarded to the Thunder. Gadara, again, relentless in pursuit of the ball, and is rewarded with a corner kick for the Thunder, Tim.
And we hope she can be relentless coming up on this corner. This is her bread and butter right here, Tate, in the box. Hopefully she can get ahead on this one.
And it'll be Hamilton to take the corner for the Thunder from the near side corner.
Look for Gadara, Tate.
Hamilton sends it in. Tried to get it to Karsten, but it was defended well by Concordia. And now a sub coming in as soon as she gets a chance for Concordia, number 10, Bailey Joe Young. I think I said that right.
You did say that right. A product of Wilmar High School.
Hamilton sends it in towards the box. DeMoss had a foot on it, but sends it way over the net towards the J Service Center.
St. Fritz taking a page out of my book.
Hey,
I love that.
I'm not naturally humorous, so I have to steal from everyone else. Sorry.
Oh, man.
But a good, decent effort there from DeMoss as the Thunder looking to secure this victory with another shot on goal that goes in. Now a little bit of wrestling out in midfield with Shannon and Fronsdal, and it's awarded to the Thunder. A foul called on Fronsdal, it appeared, Tim. And again, very physical play tonight. Very
physical.
different than what we've seen in the past couple of matches.
Yeah, and Fronsdal is a force to be reckoned with on the back line, Tate. She's very strong. She's been battling Sarah Gadara all night long.
And now a throw-in awarded to the Thunder on the far sideline. Here's DeMoss, a couple of nice moves against Marhula. Marhula doing a decent job on her, but DeMoss very, very quick, able to get around. But then a nice job by Marhula to recover and send it out of bounds on the far sideline. Jen Lee will have a throw-in now about 35 yards out from the net extended, trying to send it in to DeMoss. And DeMoss unable to get her foot on it in control, and so now it goes over the end line. And Nelson will have a goal kick coming up for Concordia. Tim, nearly 5 minutes left in the match. When does it start to be desperation time if you're Concordia here?
Tate, I think desperation time has already set in. They're trying their hardest just to keep the ball on Wheaton's side of the field. Wheaton kind of in the driver's seat right now in terms of possession. But yeah, Concordia, they got to get that goal and just to tie the game, Tate.
Here's Jen Lee now on the far sideline on the Thunder half, defended by Weiss, but a nice job to get rid of it to Hamilton. Here's Jen Lee now trying to get a ball to Leah DeMoss, and it looked like it would have worked very well.
Oh, yes.
Had a head not gone to it by Concordia. Here is Scherer, defended by Gadara, sends it to Fronsdal, trying to get it over on the far side towards the middle, but no one really there to have it. Leah DeMoss takes it away. Here's Shannon now in the middle of the field. Shannon sends it over to Sydney Sharkey. Sharkey, a nice little touch back to Carrie Shannon. Here's Shannon now trying to get a touch to Sydney Sharkey now. Sharkey trying to make it to the end line and beat the ball, and gets it to Seabolt in the 6-yard box. Seabolt unable to get anything off, and now they have to settle with Shannon out about 25 yards out. Shannon moving in. Shannon about 15 yards out, got a shot off.
Good solo effort by Shannon, Tate.
But it was defended well by Concordia. Here's Sharkey and Rounds fighting for it, and Rounds able to win it for Fronsdal. Fronsdal trying to send it up to Robinson. Robinson now trying to send it up to Weiss. Weiss beats everyone. Weiss now trying to get it off. And a good save by Kelsey Graham.
Kelsey Graham coming up big. That could be the save of the game, Tate, right there. Weiss, we saw a situation just like that earlier in the second half when she scored. Great job coming up big, Kelsey Graham.
Kelsey Graham nearly let it go by, but able to get just a hand on it and deflect it out. And now the Thunder able to clear. And Tim, we saw Kelsey Graham at halftime, didn't go back into the locker room, was working with the assistant coach Cesar on the net, and is certainly paying off in this half.
She was, Tate, and I think that was very, very helpful for her. Staying warm, keeping the hands warm, keeping those reactions quick, and that's exactly what she needed in that last opportunity by Weiss. She could have put that one right past her. Great job by Kelsey Graham.
I thought we decided Weiss, Tim.
It was Weiss, Come on. Tate, when you're in the moment, you know as well as I do. When you're in the moment,
things happen.
Words get slurred around.
Yes, they do. And Carrie Shannon trying to send one on the near sideline on their the Thunder half towards Sydney Sharkey, but it looked like Shannon faked out Sydney Sharkey and went out of bounds off the Thunder. And now Echtel and Sydney Sharkey fighting for it. Sydney able to get it back to Alexa Sharkey, and is sent up towards Seabolt, who now has it at midfield, defended by Cone, who steals it away from Seabolt. Here is Robinson now. Robinson about 30 yards out, sends it to Rounds about 18 yards out, extended on the near side. Rounds working against Alexa Sharkey, but taken away by Alexa Sharkey. And now Alexa Sharkey trying to move it up. Here's Seabolt. Seabolt trying to move something to Gadara, but Gadara wasn't ready for it. And Nelson now comes out a goal to send it onto the Thunder half. Here is number 8, Echtel with it. Had a chance but couldn't get anything off. And now DeMoss fighting Marhula for it on the far side. And a foul called.
Arms tangled up and all over the place with DeMoss and
Marhula.
The Marhula from Concordia. And DeMoss ends up kind of looks like shoving her off the ball.
And
women's soccer, rough sport.
I'm telling you. Now the referee pulling both players together, just making sure they understand that, you need to be nice and, say good things to each other. And it'll be called Thunderball. And just about 2.5 minutes remaining in the match. We're 87 minutes in, and the Thunder up 3-2 here on the pitch of Joe Bean Stadium. Here's Leah DeMoss getting it to Sarah Gadara on the far side. Gadara trying to sitting into the middle, and Karsten does a nice job to come up and receive for the Thunder. Gets it to Siebold. Siebold about 30 yards out, trying to send it over to Sydney Sharkey. Sharkey didn't attack. And now Concordia has it with Robinson right at midfield. Robinson defended by Karsten. And it's deflected off of Karsten, out of bounds on the near sideline. And now Young will have a throw in for Concordia. Here's Rounds about 35 yards out on the near side, trying to send something in towards the middle, and Karsten does a nice job.
Use her speed here.
Here's Siebold now trying to get around Cone. Siebold has it about 25 yards out. Siebold sends a shot towards the net, and it was well off the mark. Didn't get a great foot on it.
Tate Siebold had plenty of options there. She could have taken it a little bit further in, or she could have slid it to Sarah Gadara, who was also running on. Opted to shoot. Wasn't a bad effort, but could have been better.
Carrie Shannon with it now on the Thunder half, trying to get something going and clear it for the Thunder. Here's Rounds now in the far corner, moving from right to left. Rounds on the outside of the 18-yard box, sends to Weiss. Weiss a shot on goal.
Oh, nice
save. And Kelsey Graham does a nice job to save it for the Thunder. Kelsey Graham making a couple of big saves here in the closing minutes.
She's coming up big, Tate, but she shouldn't have to be coming up big. I don't know who's supposed to be marking Weiss there. She's been left unmarked multiple times. You got to stay on her, especially Tate.
Young trying to get something going in the near corner to Rounds, but it goes out of bounds. And it'll be a goal kick coming up for the Thunder with a minute to go before the end of the match.
1 minute regulation, 1 minute.
3-2 Thunder. They're up by 1 with a minute remaining in the match. Leah DeMoss thus far has been the difference at 62, put one in the back. Here's Brait now sending it up towards Shannon. Shannon stolen away by Fronsdal for a moment. Hamilton now trying to get it, and Rounds has it. Here's Rounds, a free shot for Echtel, and she scores! Echtel gets past the defense, and a goal in the closing minute for Concordia. Tim, we've been talking about it all night, and the Thunder defense not coming up big at the right time.
I really don't know what to say. A complete lapse in judgment from the Wheaton College Thunder. They thought the game was over. There was 37 seconds left on the clock. They thought they had it in the bag. You give up, you get caught looking for 1 second on defense, Tate, and you get punished for it. That's exactly what happened. Pete Felsky has got to be fuming right now, Tate, as am I. I can't believe it. You can't do that, Tate. At this level, you have to stay focused for 90 minutes straight, especially being on defense. I don't know what happened. I really couldn't tell you who was supposed to be marking out. Who was the goal scored by, Tate? Do you have that for us?
Echtel.
10, 9,
Echtel scored the goal
7,
at the 89th minute.
4,
Just the closing seconds of regulation. Echtel has it, and that'll be the end of regulation. What a goal by Echtel. And at the 89th minute, the Concordia College Cobbers able to tie the match with the Wheaton College Thunder, and we will have an extra session just as we did on Saturday, Tim, or Friday, excuse me. Certainly.
To that goal, you got to come out ready to play, for that win, Tate.
Just looking at Felsky, he looks very displeased, as he probably should be. Really, all night, Tim, maybe the Thunder shouldn't even be in this game. Several missed opportunities for Concordia, including one right at the net in the early going of this match. What do the Thunder have been playing so well defensively the last few matches. What do you say if you're Felski to the defense?
Yeah, the defense really has to pick it up. Tonight, not the best showing, that's for sure, Tate. Luck is a big part of this game, and luck is what has them still in it. If you're talking defensively, like you said, that open opportunity that was available for Concordia to finish in the first half. Luckily didn't go in for Wheaton, but defense definitely needs to reevaluate.
The teams both taking the field here as they're getting set for the overtime portion of the match. Wheaton will be moving from right to left here in this overtime, and Concordia moving from left to right again. Wheaton in the blue uniforms with the white numbers and white stripes, and Concordia in the white uniforms with maroon numbers. And we're just getting set to begin the overtime here live on the pitch of Joe Bean Stadium here on the campus of Wheaton College. I'm Tate Fritz, as always, sitting by my partner, Tim Jaderholm.
Love you, Tate.
Oh, my.
We're buds.
We are buds.
Since the days on T2, Tate.
It's very true.
Me and you.
T2, what a floor.
The best.
Only the best.
Nothing else describes that floor.
Here we go, back to the action. Here is Concordia now. We'll start with it. I believe Robinson will have the first go at it from midfield. And it is Prosinski now with Robinson sending it over to Weiss on the near side, defended by DeMoss. A nice job by the Thunder to get rid of it. Here's Fronsdale now with a header towards the middle of the field. Guerrero does a nice job to run it down. Tim, if anyone's been playing very consistently for the Thunder this match, it has to be Guerrero and Seabolt.
Yes, Tate, very good effort from both of them offensively. Seabolt, we haven't seen this kind of hustle, this kind of enthusiasm, and the ability to score goals and be in the right place, Tate, for a long time. It's really great to see the old Anna Seabolt back in action.
And Nelson now will have a goal kick coming up from the far side of her 6-yard box. And we're just about a minute into the overtime portion of the match. And a 3-3 tie is what got us here after an equalizer in the 89th minute by Emma Ekdahl of Concordia. The Swedish comer.
The Swedish import
finishing for the Cobbers. And now a foul called on Concordia. And the Thunder will now have a shot from about 30 yards out. Shannon now sends it over to Sydney Sharkey. Sharkey about 10 yards extended in the corner. Sharkey sends one towards the middle looking for Seabolt. Fronsdale, though, a nice job to be there. Nice tip by Hamilton. Now here's Sydney Sharkey. Sydney Sharkey about 20 yards out extended, moving in towards the middle of the field. Sharkey sending it in towards Guerrero, but a nice job by St. Germain to be right there for it. Guerrero, though, has it. Here's Shannon now right at the top of the 18-yard box trying to get something past. Seabolt now has it on the deflection, trying to get it up to Hamilton. But a nice job by Concordia to keep it out. No shots off for the Thunder.
Good defense by Concordia, Tate. I really wanted to see Shannon get a shot at that one. She was blocked, unfortunately, but she looked like she had a head of steam going towards goal.
A nice job by Rounds to clear it out for Concordia. Now Alexa Sharkey sends it in towards the 18-yard box. Shannon has it. Here's Karsten about 35 yards out at the top. Sends it over to DeMoss on the near side. DeMoss trying to work and gets past Marhula. Here's DeMoss. No! And a save by Nelson. DeMoss, tough to see the shot go off.
Oh, very quick to pull the trigger was DeMoss on that one, and very good, almost taking Nelson, the keeper for Concordia, by surprise. Great left-footed effort by DeMoss.
And a nice job by Shannon to save it for the Thunder now. DeMoss trying to send it up to Seabolt, nearly got it to her. Now here's Hamilton. Hamilton about 30 yards out right at the top, and gets it taken away by Ekdahl. Here's Ekdahl now defended by Shannon and DeMoss, and taken away by Shannon on the near side about 35 yards out. Shannon sends it across the field looking for Alexa Sharkey. Here's Sharkey on the far sideline, sends it over to Sydney Sharkey. Sydney Sharkey trying to work around the defender Cohn and gets it taken away. And a foul called on Sydney Sharkey. And now a free kick coming up for Fronsdale and Concordia on the far sideline right about the 18-yard box extended.
Tate, this is something that Wheaton as a whole needs to learn. If you get the ball stolen away from you, you can't just grab the jersey. You can't just make that lazy foul to get back at it. You can't get frustrated. You need to stay patient and keep playing a good game, not one that's lazy and sloppy.
Here's DeMoss now with it right at the top of the 18-yard box, trying to move around Marhula. DeMoss now in the corner of the 18-yard box, trying to move around. DeMoss still with it, touches it in towards the middle. Here's Shannon. Shannon has it, nearly got a shot off. Here's Hamilton, 20 yards out. Oh, and a save.
What a save by Nelson Tate. Hamilton, I thought that shot was going in. She had a wide open opportunity. Great take. It was heading for the upper 90 on the right side.
Great job by Nelson coming up big for the Cobbers. Blah, 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 blah.
The Cobbers of Concordia.
It's been a long couple of games for us, Tim. We're over 200 minutes now in the past couple of matches. Here's Jen Lee on the near sideline, sending it over onto the Cobber half to DeMoss. DeMoss, a nice touch to Jen Lee. Now another touch to DeMoss. Here's DeMoss now moving in towards the 18-yard box extended. Here's DeMoss now on the near side into the 18-yard box looking for Siebold. Had her, but it was deflected well by the Cobbers.
Tate DeMoss has had so many great chances. You can see that she wants this win very badly. She's playing great.
Shannon, a couple of nice moves around Weiss in the defense, now trying to send it into the middle, and it was played well by number 6, Prosinski. Here's Alexa Sharkey now defended by Rounds. Brait sends it into the middle to Shannon.
Good head by Shannon.
Shannon, nice job to get it towards Gadara, but Prosinski able to recover for the Cobbers. Trying to send it over to Echtel, but DeMoss right there for it, sends it over into the middle and carries Shannon. Shannon sends it to Karsten now and swings it over to the far sideline to Sydney Sharkey. Sydney Sharkey about 35 yards out extended, now moving in towards the 18-yard box, trying to get around Cone. Now moving in towards the end line. Got to get something off. Sends it in towards Siebold. Siebold right at the top of it. Gadara had a shot at it and was unable to finish.
Not enough on it by Gadara, Tate, but very, very good opportunity. A couple more of these. One of them is going to have to go in.
And 5 minutes into the overtime portion of the match, and it's still 3-3. Wheaton and Concordia. Wheaton having quite a few more chances, though, than Concordia so far in the overtime.
And they've had the majority of the possession as well, Tate. They're in control.
Here's Sharkey now into the far corner to Siebold. Siebold sending one towards the net. Siebold sent it in, and Nelson was right there for it. Looked like she was trying to get a header for Gadara, but just not enough turn on that ball.
And played very close to goal. Nelson was easily able to come out and grab that one.
Here's Sharkey now with it. Alexa Sharkey on the far side. Sends it over to Sydney Sharkey, who crosses over midfield into Concordia territory. Sharkey sends it into the middle of Gadara. Gadara about 25 yards out, touches it to Shannon. Shannon about 30 out in the middle. Shannon trying to move around a couple of defenders. Shannon still with it. Moving towards the 18-yard box, puts something up, and Siebold looked like she deflected it, but Shannon able to recover it once again for the Thunder. Here's Alexa Sharkey now moving around her defender about 25 yards out. Here's Shannon in the middle. Shannon gets a shot off towards it, and here's Siebold now in the 18-yard box. Send it back to Hamilton. Hamilton, a shot! Just off the top of the hand of Nelson.
Hamilton is having great chances, Tate. What another shot by her. That was also heading into the upper 90. Nelson coming up huge in the later parts of this game, Tate.
Haven't really seen much from the keeper thus far in this match, but boy, a couple of big saves and a couple of great shots by Annie Hamilton. And now here's Hamilton on the far side corner, moving from right to left. Hamilton sends one in, looking for Shannon. Shannon had a chance. Here's now DeMoss. DeMoss trying to get it to Karsten, but it's cleared out by Concordia onto the near sideline, and it goes out of bounds. Jen Lee has it now about 35 yards out extended, trying to send it into the corner, and DeMoss. DeMoss now entering the 18-yard box on the near side, trying to make a couple of moves. Weiss does a nice job to take it away. Weiss now on the near side, moving up, plenty of room to work with. Weiss sends it into the middle, and Echtel. Echtel trying to move around Karsten. Karsten trying to get it, but Echtel now with it wide open in the middle of the field, now sending it up to Rounds. Rounds about the 18-yard box extended on the far side. Rounds trying to send it into the middle, but Alexa Sharkey, a nice job to clear for the moment. And it's sent out of bounds by Prosinski of Concordia on the far sideline. And Alexa Sharkey will have it. Nearly another breakdown defensively by the Thunder. Here's Alexa Sharkey now with it. Sends it on the far sideline looking for Siebold, but just a little bit too much on it, and it goes out of bounds. And Concordia, will have it on the far sideline right at about midfield. 98 minutes gone by in the match. Still all square at 3. And just a couple of minutes left in the first overtime portion. And if we're still tied after 10 minutes, we'll have another 10 minutes. And if still tied, then we will have a draw in this match. The Thunder won't be content with a draw in this match, I wouldn't think, though.
Absolutely not. Nope.
And they're trying to put something together here, and they're knocking on the door quite frequently at this point. Here's Sharkey now trying to send it into the middle, and it's taken away by Prosinski. Prosinski trying to get it up to Robinson, but Robinson unable to put a foot on it. Here's Karsten now. Karsten over to Brait. Brait, a nice little touch over to Jen Lee. Jen Lee on the near sideline trying to work it over to DeMoss. And it was...
It's going to be a foul.
Out of bounds, but a good call as Weiss shoved Jen Lee in the back.
Yeah.
And so now on the near side, Jen Lee has it and sends it to Brait. Brait about 30 yards from her own net. Now moving it on the far side to Alexa Sharkey. Alexa sends it over to Sydney Sharkey on the far sideline, now getting defended and taken away by Concordia. Alexa Sharkey able to knock it out of bounds, and a minute remaining in the first overtime portion of this match. 3-3, all square, is Concordia and Wheaton College. And now the ball free. Amanda Brait getting to it for the Thunder right outside her own 18 box on the near sideline. And Brait, not a very good clearance.
Nope.
And now it looks like Concordia will at least have one more chance before the end of the overtime.
Kate, this is right when they scored at the very end of regulation. 30 seconds to go. Concordia has proven that they can do it.
Here's Rounds now trying to get around Shannon, but Shannon does a nice job to take it away and clear it. Shannon trying to get it up to Seabolt, defended well by Fronsdale. And now a fight for the ball. Seabolt trying to win it.
Gadero's got to get in there.
Seabolt nearly had it. And now on the far sideline, it's Young and Sydney Sharkey. Young does a nice job to get it to Robinson. Now back to Prosinski. And now the clock running out. And Amanda Brait will clear it into the middle to Karsten. And we will go to a second overtime period of this match. 100 minutes in. And it is 3-3, still all square in this match, Tim. And the second straight double overtime match for the Thunder women's soccer team.
Echoes of Friday night, Tate. That's what I feel. Same exact situation against Trinity going into the second overtime. Wheaton, I don't know what it is. They're unable to do it in the first in that first portion they're allotted. If I'm Pete Felsky, I would have really pushed. I would have said, girls, you got to get it in the first period. That's when we have to just put the game away. It should have been put away in regulation. They messed up there, and they really got to come out hard now, Tate.
Plenty of chances, though, in the first overtime period for the Thunder. A couple of great saves by the keeper, Nelson. You can just keep your same attack mode, I would assume.
Yeah, Tate, keep the same mentality for sure. Always on the attack, and you're right. They did have the majority of the chances and the shots on goal in the first period, as well as the majority of the possession. But that's not to say Concordia. They had a few chances themselves. And, you know, like we've seen all season with the loss to Aurora, the tie against Trinity, one mistake and that can vary a Tate.
And again, the Thunder trying to avoid probably their first three consecutive matches at home without a victory in quite some time, Tim. And a different Wheaton Thunder team seems to appear every match. A pretty young team, Tim, but nonetheless probably need to figure out the flow of their team here before they head into the playoffs and the rest of CCIW play.
Yeah, Tate, I mean, they've seen a lot of different teams, to be fair to Wheaton. You know, North Park and Carthage are not going to pose as big of a challenge as a Trinity or an Aurora University is going to. But you're right, we have seen a lot of ups and downs. You know, a 6-0 win against the Vikings in North Park, and then, you know, unable to beat Trinity and some of those teams. So, yeah, kind of a roller coaster type ride in the last few games for Wheaton. I really hope they can come out with the win tonight, Tate. I really want to see it from them.
And again, now a second overtime period will take place. Wheaton will switch ends and move from left to right now here on the pitch of Joe Bean Stadium, and Concordia moving from right to left. And certainly the MVP of that overtime had to be Nelson, in net for Concordia, and we'll see if she and Graham can keep the opposing teams out of the net. Certainly several interesting goals on the night, Tim. Hopefully it won't end with a miscue on either side. Hopefully it'll be a good goal to end the match.
I hope so, Tate.
Shannon now a nice little slip pass to Seabolt, who starts off the overtime. Seabolt trying to get it, but it was defended well by Prosinski. And Young now trying to set it up on the near side, to Hickerson. Defended well by Alexa Sharkey, but sent it right out of bounds. Not a very good touch. And now Young has it on the near side right across midfield over to Rounds. Rounds trying to send it in towards number 15, Robinson. Robinson still with it against Karsten on the 18-yard extended on the near side. Here's Young sending it into Prosinski. Prosinski still with it now against Sydney Sharkey on the near sideline, about 30 yards out extended. Sydney Sharkey tried to take it away, but Prosinski was able to get to Young. Here's Robinson now with it against Karsten. But a nice job by Karsten to take away. Here's Shannon now trying to get a run out, but Fronsdal does a nice job to save it for Concordia. Here's Gadara now with it right at midfield, gets it to Seabolt. Seabolt's unable to collect it, and Fronsdal has it now on her own half, about 30 yards out. Now sends it in towards the middle, but Karsten able to get a foot on it and send it towards Leah DeMoss on the far sideline. DeMoss right across the midfield line, now moving in towards the middle of the field, gets it to Shannon. Shannon about 30 yards out. Shannon gets it taken away by Echtel, and now here comes Concordia. Echtel moving it across the midfield, getting it towards Hickerson, but a nice job by Alexis Sharkey to shield her off, and Kelsey Graham picks it up in goal. And Tim, Karsten looks like a bit slower than Echtel at this point. Maybe some tiredness and exhaustion.
Yeah, Karsten. Yeah, a couple, getting the ball taken away. Kind of some lazy challenges. She does look a little bit tired. You can't have that though, Tate. You got to keep your game up. This is where it all matters.
DeMoss tried to send it in towards the middle, but it was hit nicely by Concordia. Now here's Robinson trying to get something to Weiss on the far side. Weiss and Jen Lee going after it, and it eventually rolls out of bounds on the far sideline about 10 yards from the corner, and it'll be Thunder ball. Jen Lee sends it up the far sideline to Leah DeMoss. Leah DeMoss trying to work around a couple of defenders, and Prosinski does a nice job to take it away for Concordia. Here's Cher, now sends it back to Nelson, excuse me. I don't know why I keep getting that mixed up. Nelson sends it out on the far side towards midfield, and Leah DeMoss, who took it away from Cone. DeMoss, a nice move to get it past Cone. Here's DeMoss now moving in towards the middle of the field. DeMoss, a couple of nice moves to get around. Here she is, the 18-yard box, trying to center it up. Sibo with a shot. Oh, just wide.
She could have put the game away, Tate. Oh, my goodness. What a great service from DeMoss. Right on the doorstep for Siebold. That was a gift of a ball, and she just couldn't finish it.
And now a stoppage of play by the official. Not quite sure what the problem is. And now everything is okay. And Nelson will send it out from the near side of her 6-yard box.
Concordia stays alive, Tate. 7 minutes left in this period.
Here's Gadara now with it, trying to win it for Wheaton. Here she is, 25 yards out in the middle, trying to get something going against 3 defenders. Gadara sends it over on the near side to Sydney Sharkey. Sharkey trying to move past Young in the corner. Sharkey still with it, and it's sent out of bounds by Young. A nice job of defense there by Concordia, who's come up big when they've needed to. Sydney Sharkey now with the throw in, looking to get it into Hamilton inside the 18-yard box. Nearly a foul called on Rounds. Here's Shannon right at the top corner of the 18. Shannon sends it back to Alexis Sharkey about 40 yards out. Sharkey sends it in towards the middle. Here's Siebel trying to get a shot on with the head. And a good idea, but just wide. And a sub now coming in for Concordia. Morgan Holm checking back in for Concordia.
Tate, in that last series, Shannon had the ball on the right side of the 18-yard box. I saw Karsten was lurking on top of the 18. I would have liked to see her slide that into her, and then maybe Karsten have a shot at it. But it was a decent chance. Ended up being Siebold with that shot on goal.
Here's Gadara now, who's been making things happen all night, it seems, trying to get it to DeMoss, but Cone takes it away nicely. And now here's Holm. Holm on the far sideline, taken away by Karsten Well. Here's Karsten now trying to send one into the far corner to DeMoss. DeMoss now with it right at the edge of the 18-yard box on the far side. DeMoss now moving towards the end line, defended well, but now still has it. DeMoss sending it into and a shot, and it's just wide by Siebold. Siebold continuing to have chance after chance, but just can't seem to put it on frame.
Tate, that was a tough one. A lot of Concordia defensewomen around the area, but very good. Siebold and DeMoss, good to see them hooking up, linking up, and making things happen, Tate.
Here's Nelson now. Will send it from her own 6-yard box towards the middle. Try to get it to Prosinski, but couldn't win it. And here's Hamilton with it now. Hamilton, a nice little slip pass to Sydney Sharkey at the 18-yard box, extended on the near side. Here's Sharkey. Sharkey trying to make something happen, sends it in towards the middle. Try to get it to Gadara. And Nelson does a nice job to come up and take it away.
Gadara, second too late coming out of that one. It was kind of an interesting ball from Sharkey. Maybe not the best, lofting and kind of slow moving, Tate.
Here is Holm now. Sends it over to Hickerson, who tries to get it into the middle, and Weiss. Shannon does a nice job to take it away and send it over on the near sideline to Sydney Sharkey. Sharkey back to Alexa Sharkey, who gives it back to her sister Sydney. Sydney now on the near sideline, trying to get it up to Alexa Sharkey. Nice job by Persinski to take it away. Persinski trying to get it up towards
good clearance.
Number 8, Ekdahl, sorry about that. And a nice job to clear by the Thunder. Here's Siebold now with it on the Concordia half, sends it to Hamilton. Hamilton now with it,
Caught by
trying
Hamilton.
to move into the middle. And here's Shannon now. Shannon right at the middle in the circle. Shannon working against Rounds, sends it over to Alexa Sharkey. Alexa Sharkey in the near side, trying to get something going. Over to her sister Sydney now, moving in towards the corner. Sydney now about 25 out extended, and it's out of bounds off of Hickerson. So nice job by Concordia to make sure nothing happens. Now under 5 minutes remaining before the end of the match, 4 to be exact. Here's Sydney Sharkey with it now about 18 yards out extended, sends it to Alexa. Alexa Sharkey sends it back to Sydney.
Needs service.
Sydney now about the corner, sending it in towards the middle. Guidera had a chance at it. Here's Siebold now trying to get it and unable to do so. And it's cleared for the moment by Concordia. Here's Hickerson fighting the Sharkey sisters for it, and Sydney able to take it away from Hickerson. Sharkey trying to save it in and send one towards the middle. And it's taken in by Nelson, the keeper. 3.5 minutes remaining in the match, and we're still all square at 3. Here is Genley and Weiss now fighting for it on the far sideline. Shannon ends up with it, gets it to Karsten, who now sends it up towards Guidera and DeMoss. Guidera on the far sideline trying to save it in, and it looked like a handball possibly on Concordia, but no call by the referee. And now a foul called by Jen Lee on the far sideline.
Wheaton fans not happy about it.
Didn't really look like too much, but nonetheless, just about midfield on the far sideline. Fransdale will have a free kick, trying to send it in towards the middle. Fransdale sends it towards the 18-yard box, and a nice job there by Jen Lee to make sure nothing happens, but Guidera unable to clear. Nearly a bad series of events there. And now Sydney Sharkey has it from Karsten on the near side. Sydney Sharkey trying to beat Cone. Sharkey now getting in towards the 18-yard box extended. Defended by Cone. Looks like she was pushed. And now arguing the call. Sydney Sharkey looked like she had an opportunity to get back towards the ball, but decided to stay on the ground and argue instead. And now here's Shannon from Karsten. Shannon, looks like there's some pushing going on by both squads, but no fouls being called. Here's Karsten now in the middle of the field, sends it on the near sideline to Sydney Sharkey about 35 yards out. Sharkey now trying to move in towards the corner once again. Sharkey trying to get one centered. She sends it in towards Guidera. Guidera and Siebold have a shot at it. Siebold now trying to put a foot on it, can't do so, and now it's cleared out by the Concordia to Alexa Sharkey. Alexa Sharkey sends it in to Karsten. Karsten about 30 yards out. Karsten trying to get something going. Here's Shannon. Shannon in the middle trying to send it to Siebold, but Franz still right there for it. Here's Karsten now trying to win a header for the Thunder, but Franz still again right there. Here's Shannon. Shannon, about 1:30 remaining in the match. Here's Shannon trying to get something going, trying to put a shot on net, and a foul is called on Concordia's Fransdale. And Carrie Shannon and the Wheaton Thunder will now have a free kick from about 30 yards out on the near side. Alexa Sharkey now sends it into the corner to Sydney Sharkey on the near side. And
Tate, offsides called on Sydney Sharkey.
And
that's not good.
And a careless turnover by the Thunder. And now a minute remaining in the match. And Concordia will have a shot at it seems, with Fransdale on the near sideline. Fransdale sends it towards midfield. Karsten trying to win it for the Thunder and is able to do so to Siebold. Here's Siebold now sending it to Hamilton. Hamilton with some room to work. Sends it down the near sideline to Sydney Sharkey. Sharkey again moving towards the end line, trying to get it centered. And gets it to Siebold. Siebold trying to get something on net. And a foul is called. A foul is called. And a penalty.
It's going to be a penalty kick.
A penalty kick upcoming after a foul was called on
to the
Concordia. And not good for Concordia. Now Leah DeMoss has a chance to win the match with about 35 seconds remaining in the second overtime period.
Tate, it's make or break for Leah DeMoss. She needs to get this goal right here.
DeMoss and Nelson. You gotta love this about soccer. DeMoss for the win. Got it! DeMoss scored! and that is it. Leah DeMoss puts it in the back of the net, and that is it. The Wheaton Thunder win in crazy fashion on a penalty kick with 30 seconds left in the match in the double overtime affair, and that is all. Leah DeMoss puts it in the back of the net. 4-3 the final score from Joe Bean Stadium. Tim, Leah DeMoss coming up big there, but really just a crazy game for the Thunder.
Say crazy is absolutely the word to describe this match. Goals everywhere, fouls everywhere, physical match. Just really a big show for the fans. We were on the edge of our seat, I know that, Tate. But Leah DeMoss, way to be calm, collected on that penalty kick, come up and stick it in the back of the net. A rocketing shot to the upper 90 from DeMoss on that penalty. She meant business there, and she wins the game for the Wheaton Thunder.
And a huge win certainly for the Thunder. It looked like they might not pull it out, especially after they gave up a goal with 30 seconds to go themselves. And then in double overtime, the Thunder able to pull it out in the 110th minute on a penalty kick from DeMoss. And Tim, you hate to say it, but the ref certainly was a questionable affair in this match, and you never like to see that.
Yeah, he was, Tate. He was, interesting.